The Supreme Court handed Donald Trump 2 massive victories today, and the left is apoplectic. They ruled that Donald Trump, his administration, can turn away asylum seekers at the border, even if they try to claim that they need asylum. They can say, nah, if you are not in the United States, you have no right to claim asylum in the United States. Of course, the liberal justices lost their minds, saying millions will die. And it's going to encourage, this is the worst thing they said. Who was it? I think it was Kagan. She's like, this will encourage illegal immigrants to enter the country illegally, or it'll encourage migrants to enter illegally. And it's like, what Alito said was like, we have criminal laws for that. They want to break the law. We enforce the law against them. So none of this. The next big ruling was not so much that Trump can deport these Haitian and Syrian migrants under temporary protected status, but that they don't have the right to an injunction barring their deportation. So de facto, Trump admin can now deport something like 600,000 people brought here under the Biden administration. You guys want to know why this matters? We granted TPS to Haiti in 2010 because there was an earthquake. Why are we still granting it to them 16 years later? Syria, 2012 over a civil war. Why are we still granting this temporary status some 14 years later? And here's the best part. Somalia, 35 years ago. I think it's about time we just say, like, yeah, the conditions of your countries have changed. You can go now. So big news for Donald Trump. We'll talk about that, of course. Then this movie, Citizen Vigilante, which also is a somewhat migrant related, now for free on X. Elon Musk posted it. Everybody's raving about it. It's a B movie. But, you know, what I want to say is, I haven't watched the full thing. I've watched a bit of it. It's good in how bad it is. You know what I mean? Like, how do I describe it? It's not funny. Like you watch a B movie and you're like, oh, this is so bad, it's funny. No. It's like, it's kind of bad, but it makes it good. I don't know. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Then, of course, Donald Trump is playing a game of chicken with Congress over the SAVE Act, refusing to sign the housing bill. This matters because Thune just called for adjourning Congress until mid-July, and Donald Trump said he's not going to sign this. So if Trump waits to the 11th hour, then signs a formal veto and kicks it back, the housing bill is going to be held up for the next month. And then who knows? If they do not come back in time and they do not revote on it, they could pass a veto-proof majority, and then this could end up delaying it for a month or so. But it's a game of chicken, and we're going to see who ends up winning, and should be interesting. So we'll get into all that. Before we do, got a great sponsor for you guys. It is Backyard Butchers. I love me a good ribeye, my friends. You know what matters? It matters where we get our food. Did you guys know that just 4 companies control the majority of the beef supply in the United States, and the largest one's foreign-owned? It's not a conspiracy theory, my friends. That's actually true. This is a national security issue. Here's what most people don't realize. Probably the most disgusting thing. A single pound of conventional grocery store ground beef can contain DNA from hundreds of different cattle. Backyard Butchers, I love how you wrote that script. I would describe it somewhat differently. I would say when you buy beef from the grocery store, it's very likely just they threw a bunch of cows in a single grinder and it's just, all mishmashed. That kind of freaks me out. What's the solution? There's one. As Americans, we got to return to tradition where you know your rancher, you know your land, you know where your meat is coming from. That's why you got to go to backyardbutchers.com. They are the American tradition. They offer premium American beef from real Texas ranchers, born, raised, and processed right here in the USA. 98% grass-fed, 2% grain-finished, no hormones, no antibiotics, no preservatives. Go to backyardbutchers.com. Use promo code TIM for up to 30% off. 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes plus free shipping. This summer, Backyard Butchers is celebrating America's 250th anniversary with a free America 250 box when you purchase a steakhouse box, complete with your burgers and hot dogs, built for my favorite holiday, the 4th of July, which is coming up. It's the best holiday. I can't wait to have a big old cheeseburger and watch explosions. It's fantastic. Again, go to backyardbutchers.com. Use promo code TIM, 30% off. 2 10-ounce ribeyes for free and free shipping. Shout out to Backyard Butchers for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to also smash that like button. Share the show with everyone in your life. Have you called mom recently? Call her up right now and say, you got to turn on Timcast IRL. And when she goes, what's that? Why? Say, it's a show, and he told me to tell you this. And then it'll bring you closer together. We got 2 great individuals joining us today. What do you go first? Who are you?
I'm Chase Geiser. I am the owner and primary host of the Chase Geiser Network. You can find me on X at RealChaseGeiser or ChaseGeiser.com. And this is my co-host, Stephen Bach, host of Guess Who's Bach on the Chase Geiser Network.
Yep, the show is called My Last Name. I'm Stephen Bach. You can find me at Real Stephen Bach on IG X and YouTube. I just started it up.
Make sure you go to backyardbutchers.com/armyhammer for 10% off the ribs.
Is that for real?
No, that is not for real. Hello, everybody. My name's Phil Levanti. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. What's up, Carter?
Dude, I'm pumped to have y'all both in the studio today. It's going to be a lot of fun in the conversation, and let's get to it.
From Timcast.com. You know what I love, guys? I'm writing articles, and it's funny for me to be like, I'm going to cite myself because I wrote it, and it's more straightforward than I would describe it if I was speaking on camera. But yeah, this is from Timcast.com. Supreme Court rules asylum seekers in Mexico have no right to asylum claims. So long as they have not arrived in the U.S., they cannot make claims. A divided Supreme Court ruled Thursday that migrants who present themselves at a port of entry but are physically blocked from stepping onto American soil have not, quote, arrived in the United States under federal immigration law and therefore are not entitled to inspection or the chance to apply for asylum. The 6-3 decision in Mullen v. Al Otro Lado reverses a ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and hands the government a significant victory in its long-running dispute over metering, a practice in which Customs and Border Protection officers stand at the borderline and turn back migrants before they can cross. Okay, let's talk about how stupid the Supreme Court is. And I don't mean the good ones like Alito and Thomas, because they are based. And if Alito and Thomas could just if we could just get rid of everybody and have those two guys run the whole country, here's my revolution is no more American government. It's just Alito and Thomas. They're in charge forever. Here's the argument. Under the law, it said that if a migrant arrives in the United States, they can claim asylum. We then have to process that claim, which requires some type of minimal adjudication.
It's like parlay in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Exactly. It's like the migrant comes and they're like, you're under arrest. We're kicking you out. Asylum. And they're like, he's called asylum. We must bring him to our leader. Here's the thing. Let me ask you a simple question. If they're standing in Mexico, have they arrived in the United States?
No.
I think that's patently obvious. And I can't believe that Alito actually had to argue this. Do you know what the dissent actually said? So this is Sotomayor argued that when you're flying into Washington, D.C., they tell you that you've arrived in Washington, D.C. when you land at Dulles, despite the fact that Dulles is in Virginia. Okay. Now, who would like to explain why she's retarded? Why that is stupid?
Well, you haven't arrived in Washington, D.C. if you're in Virginia.
Indeed. I don't understand how we have to even try to make that argument. And she goes, yes, but the pilot will say now arriving in Washington, D.C. He's generally speaking about the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, not the literal Washington. You're in Virginia. And then it's like Alito is like, if the guests are outside your house, they haven't arrived at your house yet. They're almost there. Like, how is this how the Biden administration, in fact, many administrations actually handled asylum cases? It is the utmost of stupidity where a dude is in Mexico and they're like, well, he's in Mexico, but I guess he's arrived here. Let him in.
It's only stupid if you want to uphold the laws and you don't want to allow basically anyone that wants to come to the United States to come to the United States. If your goal is to import a boatload of people into the country from foreign countries, it's not stupid. It's functional.
Well, and there's a clip of Chuck Schumer from years ago that always sticks with me and comes up whenever we talk about this, where he explicitly states that we have a depopulation problem in the United States of America, and the way to replace the waning labor force is by allowing as many migrants as possible into the country.
I tell you what, I would rather have Optimus robots than immigrants.
Well, there's one more story I want to throw into the mix before we get into the big conversation about, we were talking a little bit before the show about population collapse. Oh, boy. From Timcast.com, Supreme Court allows Trump administration to end protected status for Syrian and Haitian migrants. To put it quite simply, my friends, this is the case Mullen v. Doe and Trump v. Miotte. It ended with the court reversing lower court orders that had paused the terminations. Basically, so these two cases are combined. You've got Syrian and Haitian migrants saying it's racist to deport us. In the meantime, Trump trying to deport them. There was an injunction on their deportation. Supreme Court says, no, you can't do this. So they're going to get deported now, and their case will still be heard, but they'll be somewhere else. So maybe after, they're in Haiti or something, they win. I don't know. I don't think they will win. And it's fun to see just how insane the left is going over this. We've got Rep. Pramila Jayapal saying, she says, these are disastrous immigration rulings from the right-wing Supreme Court that will put millions of lives at risk. The purpose of both TPS and asylum is to protect people from dangerous situations by terminating TPS for countries in the midst of ongoing crises, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read the rest. Congress must urgently act to give those individuals from countries that remain eligible a roadmap to citizenship, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Haiti had an earthquake in 2010, so we granted TPS. Syria had a civil war in 2012. We granted TPS. It's been a long time. Assad fled the country. Civil war's over. The earthquake is long. It's ancient history at this point. And then we've given Somalia 35 years. What are we doing? Why? Because their country sucks? What's their problem? Send them back.
We love our Somalis. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so great.
I want to
Ilhan Omar can go with them.
I want to point out that Representative Jaya Paul, she was born in India and she didn't move to the United States until she was 16. We need to change the rules for who can be in Congress and in the Senate. It must be just like the president. You must be born in the United States and have lived here for however long. I think there's a time limit on, or a residency limit on how long you have to live here.
You have to have been born here to U.S. citizen parents.
Yeah. Like if you're going to represent the United States, if you're going to actually represent the people of your district, you have to
be Native American.
You have to at least have been born in the United States. You can't be born somewhere else, come here when you're a teenager, have your formative years in a foreign country, learning different values, and then come to the United States and then go into government and tell Americans that are born here, this is how you have to behave. This is what the law should be.
I'm going to tell you my conspiracy theory. It's not really my conspiracy theory. It's actually just an amalgam of conspiracy theories. And we were talking to Alex Berenson last night, and he was like, I think that's not correct. I imagine both of you are going to be like, that's 100% true. So the conspiracy theory is basically liberal economic order emerged after World War II, and they say we're going to become the dominant global power. We're going to use economics. That's what the liberal economic order is. Not a conspiracy. That's true. That actually happened.
Bretton Woods.
We get the Cold War against the Soviet Union, and the U.S. is massively exporting culture to try and dominate. And then eventually the Soviet Union collapses. At that point, the U.S. says it's time for global homogenization. So in the 70s, you get this Malthusian push, an argument for people not having families. I don't think it's necessarily about climate change. I think that was a lie. I think the real issue, the real reason they wanted people not to have kids was because they want to flatten culture so they can homogenize it to create a global society or a global governance. The liberal economic order wants to basically effectively run the world. You need to have similarities between all people because cultures that are diametrically opposed, well, they're going to fight with each other. So how do you stop that? So what I think happens is that this plan's in place in the 90s. In the mid to late 90s, they decide, okay, we're going to start flattening American traditions. So this is why we see the 90s as the last decade of culture. The 70s, the 60s, the 50s, they all have this distinct image of what these decades represented. Sure. 80s, 90s, et cetera. But after the 90s, it stops. The 2000s sort of has it. 2010 says nothing. Why is that? Billy Corgan said that towards the end of the 90s, there was an effort by the labels to turn the volume down on rock music. And he goes, some people believe the CIA was involved, but above my pay grade. So he's not really asserting any grand conspiracy, but you take a look at the ending of rock music after 40, 50 years of American cultural tradition, popularity, top of the charts, and the emergence of rap, pop, R&B stuff. I would argue that this kind of music has a broader generic appeal. So they're trying to go for simple beats, things that aren't too complicated so that somebody in a foreign country can easily attach to it without having to be part of an American tradition. So you flatten the American tradition. Then, now here's the part where it gets crazy. And again, it's not my conspiracy. This is somebody else's. The argument was the plan for COVID was 2030. They were going to have homogenized media. Then there was going to be the release of this coronavirus that was manufactured in a lab. They were going to tell everybody what you had to do. It was going to destroy all of the businesses overnight and then reignite them all at once as a great reset and perhaps a 2030 agenda. But the conspiracy theory states that Donald Trump's election was not supposed to happen. Because of this, he disrupted all their plans. And as a last resort in 2020, they released coronavirus from the Wuhan laboratory. Again, I'm not saying that's true, but that is a conspiracy theory that's been floating around as to why it's like someone's trying to put a through line through everything we've seen over the past several decades.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory, though, because you saw the transfer out of Chapel Hill under Obama. They gave this technology gain of function to the Wuhan lab in anticipation of Trump. I actually agree. And I don't think that much is going to come of this. They're just fluffing us up here.
The asylum seeker stuff?
Yeah, because, well, number one, they're not busting up the NGOs. Maybe USAID, but everyone already knew about that. They're not doing anything about birthright citizenship, so there's going to be a demographic shift here. And I think the New York model under Mamdani is what they have planned for the whole country and what comes post-Trump.
So the reason why I brought the conspiracy theory is the presumption is you look at Dearborn, Michigan. What they're doing is they're effectively doing like a mini balkanization so that American tradition is gone and then America is no longer a country. It is effectively like we've talked about this last year that the military industrial complex becomes a de facto international presence. And there will no, and by flattening and destroying American tradition, which culture, there is no unified group that will ever challenge this floating machine that controls everything or goes to war, bombs things. So when you look at New York, we are all now at odds with each other, and there's not going to be a unified front against whatever this machine is
Do you
doing.
think we're going to have a civil war?
I do. Well, I would argue that the probability is high for such a thing.
What time frame?
Honestly, I have no idea.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but within 50 years is a different.
You couldn't put me on the spot for this stuff.
Yeah.
I have considered so much in this question. In the 1820s, there was talk of civil war for the exact reason of slavery, but it took 40 years.
Yeah.
So we've seen civil strife. I mean, you've got Charlie Kirk's murder. You've got and whoever did it. If your argument is that it was a conspiracy by the deep state or whatever, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the political assassinations because they're disruptive forces with disproportionate power. So if the argument is that the deep state, Israel, or even the leftists, whoever killed Charlie Kirk,
Sure.
there was an effort to stop an ascendant political power, which means there is another political power that fears a rising political power, which is another indication of civil war. It's a civil strife period. You've got the
You got to look at the voter turnout as well. Right before the Civil War in the United States, there was massive voter turnout, and I think the higher voter turnout there is for the presidential race, I think it's a major indicator of a proximity.
Do you know what voter turnout for the Republican Party in the South was?
Tell me.
Zero.
Negative.
Oh, that's right, because they made it against the rules, right?
It wasn't against the rules. The Republicans didn't campaign. So the way it used to work back then is we didn't have ballots. You didn't go into a polling station and they wouldn't hand you a ballot. What you would do is you'd go into a polling station, write down on a piece of paper who you wanted and put it in a box.
Yeah.
What the parties would do is they would pre-print ballots saying, here's the Republican candidates, check the boxes and sign your name and put this in and it'll count as your vote. They did not do that in the South because they thought it was pointless, so there was zero turnout. So the one thing that you need to consider is when we're looking at the Cook political report and we see that jurisdictions are hyperpolarizing, again, clear indication civil war is coming. But I'll give you the simple version. There's a couple questions as to why it won't happen and as to why it will. And there's an argument as to why it won't, but I'll put a tack in that one. We just had a lady, we had three people, Mamdani's commies in New York, won seats in Congress effectively by winning this primary. These are people who explicitly want to destroy the United States. How do you coexist with people whose mission, stated, is to destroy your country?
Well, Tim, I have a solution for you. And that solution is Woodstock 1999 Limp Bizkit. That scared the hell out of the record labels. They put it to generic gangster rap. White people have been too soft for too long, but we know when white people get angry, atoms get split.
Well,
that's true, but I think it was Jews that did that.
You're right. They're
White adjacent.
White adjacent.
They don't even claim to be white.
it depends on the situation. I think that the likelihood of some kind of civil war here grows with the alignment of the socialists and the Islamists, right? Like you're seeing the left aligning with the Islamists in the U.S. and just like in the Iranian Revolution, together they could probably beat the right, and then the Islamists will kill all the
There's so
leftists.
few Islamists in the United States.
But it's
sure?
not even. It's I don't.
growing drastically.
But
Two or three
I don't. I'm
generations.
not actually. That's actually a different issue, right? I think it was Majid Nawaz who said. I could be wrong, but you've got the left, the right, and then Islam from above, right? They don't represent a left or a right. They're a different ideological faction. You think we got a story we're going to talk about. They're doing Seattle's Pride Day. It's Seattle, right? Where Iran and Egypt they're going to be flying pride flags at this event, and these two Muslim nations are like, no, they're pissed off about it.
The rainbow colored swastika.
Yeah, like the left is here's what I think. I think intelligent leftists don't actually like Islam. It's a weapon against the West.
Sure.
And I think the Islamists don't like the left, but it's a weapon against the West.
Yeah.
I think.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
But I do think there is one big issue that prevents civil war, and that is population collapse. Now, that's a possibility. that because we're looking at Gen Alpha being half the size of Gen Z, and Gen Z's not having kids either, which indicates like, oh, dude, guys, in history, no civilization has ever come back from the birth rates we are at today.
Yep.
You look at every society in history that has dropped below 2, they have never recovered, they've collapsed.
Yep.
And so what's happening now is we're going to see deflation. It's going to be nuts. Houses are, it's funny, Trump's pausing the housing bill. Bro, houses are going to be worth nothing in like 10 to 15 years.
Agreed.
You want to see the evidence?
See, AI deflation's a huge part of it.
You want to see the evidence? Niigata, Japan. Take a look, baby. They are selling 10-bedroom houses for like 80 grand.
Yeah, but those aren't houses. Those are like Japanese shoe boxes.
No, they're houses. And they look amazing. The problem is young people are fleeing the prefecture because there's no young people and they want to concentrate. So they're all going to Tokyo, which is absolutely massive. So they're leaving these houses abandoned. Now, that being said, I will say fair point that the Japanese culture does not prioritize houses the way the American culture does. Houses are considered depreciating assets, and they actually raise them quite often and rebuild them. They don't value houses the way we do. Like, we've got houses from like 1926 for $2 million in D.C.
Sure.
We just renovate. They don't renovate, they raise and rebuild. The land is valuable.
Ever since Nagasaki, they just blow it up.
But yo, there's 5-bedroom houses. And again, they're Japanese style, but these are actual houses. And there's this big movement right now. Japan's trying to get Americans to move there. And they're enticing them with ads across social media saying, how would you like to own a single family home, 5-bedroom?
My Instagram feed
central,
is just beautiful Japanese girls handing hamburgers over and just dancing.
and
you know what I mean?
Have you seen how
Like,
much?
I'm going.
Have you seen how much on social media is exploding with learn Japanese, move to Japan? There's like a white hippie guy with crystals on his neck, and he's like, so I moved to Japan. It cost me $25,000 for this house, and then he's got like a 5-bedroom house. Like, what's happening in Japan, because their population crisis is worse than ours for whatever. Like, I guess maybe because we flooded this country with illegal immigrants. This was the Democrat plan to stave off the collapse. We are going, guys. I recommend you drive through Gary, Indiana, if you've never been. You know,
With the doors locked.
Yeah, with the doors locked. You know, get a killdozer to protect yourself before you go to Gary, Indiana. I'm kidding. I'm sorry, Gary, but you're not a good place.
What's the demographic makeup?
Gary, Indiana used to be an industrial, like a white Rust Belt industrial center. All the white people left, and now I believe it's predominantly black.
It's like a mini Detroit.
Yeah. But I will say this: I don't think the collapse of Gary is a racial component. It was a manufacturing collapse, which the economy collapsed, and now I could be wrong. I believe it's predominantly black. Walk down the street, and it's just rows of houses that have been abandoned forever.
In Decatur, Illinois, you can buy a house for $10,000. That's where my family's from.
They have houses you can buy, I think, in Gary for $1.
Well, in Detroit, they have a renovation program to rejuvenate the city where they're turning all these houses, one-story, two-story houses into businesses. So they could use that model. And I bet the data centers are beautiful this time of the year in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons they're rushing full speed towards AI data centers is because they know we need to replace white-collar workers in 20 years. They don't exist.
Yep.
But I wonder if that was intentional. Was it the play? Because DARPA started working on AI tech back in the 70s. Did they convince people not to have kids and create the economic conditions by which they can't through feminism and through strained economic, like giving away our
I
manufacturing?
got an inverted take on this. I'd love to hear your feedback on this.
Yep.
So my theory, and I'm not at all convinced of this theory, it's just what's been running in the back of my mind for a couple of years, is that because we detached the dollar from gold and we had this massive inflation in the 70s, I actually think that feminism in large and the depopulation crisis in large is an unintentional response to inflation, right? So you have massive inflation. Suddenly, we come from a culture that is proud of the fact that a father can provide on a single income for a family of 4. Now, suddenly, because of inflation, it's more and more difficult to do that, even impossible. So as a psychological cope, there's feminism. It's okay for the women to work. And then as a result of that, people build careers and they marry later and they have fewer children. Like, I think a lot of this is an inadvertent response to inflation since the 70s.
I'll give you, I would agree halfway. I would argue that feminism was born out of the Cold War and World Wars One and 2. Mm-hmm. The reason was
Rosie the Riveter,
which we both won.
Right. The elites come together and they basically say this: we are at war, and when you're thinking about the big picture industrialized warfare, you have to think about your energy output. How many tanks can we produce? At the lowest level of warfare, you're thinking like, how many rocks do we have? And how many rocks do they have? How many more rocks can we get? The amount of energy you can expend in this regard is a very simple calculation. Phil, grab as many rocks as you can. How many can you get? I can probably grab like 20 rocks every hour. Great. We'll use them. Calculation's simple. When you're at macro level stuff, international with tens of millions of civilians, you're looking at hard economic numbers, employment, inflation, et cetera.
Sure.
So the powers that be in the United States say the Soviet Union is growing at a rate of 6.3% year over year. How do we match that production
Population
output?
or GDP?
GDP.
Okay.
So how do we match that production output? We mean physical goods, power lines, houses. And they said, half the population produces nothing. Can we get women to start doing more work so we can double the labor output? They did not consider the long-term effects of removing childbearing human beings from the economy.
Well, and the fact that even if you put women in the workforce doesn't mean they get anything done.
Well, but I'm going to say this. I don't think the people who did this plan were, I would say they're midwits. They're not stupid. And so they're not listen, the woke are stupid. But I'm telling you, like, some greatest generation general guy who's talking about getting women in the workforce so we can beat the Soviet Union and win the race. He's saying, what can women do? Well, we have a lot of men doing administrative jobs. Women can easily do those, and the men can lift the rocks. So let's get as many women as possible in the workforce to do white-collar jobs and lower skilled labor. We can increase economic output.
And let's make it illegal to sleep with your secretary.
Yeah. HR. But you don't think this is a planned dialectic? Because, like, we've had mini reactors for a long time. They've been sitting on fusion, cold fusion, hot fusion. I feel like
I don't think so.
Well, there's a whole like Catherine Austin Fitts went into this. They skim a lot of off the HUD budget and all these different NGOs and everything, and they've been pooling the money. I'm under the impression there's a breakaway civilization. They've had these breakthrough technologies for a while, but they like the control the petrodollar system instituted. So that's why they have you on. Like, I talked to Chase about this. We don't fight wars over coal anymore.
Right.
And like, if you look at the kings of the
peppercorn.
past, yeah, I
I would fight a war over peppercorn.
But in medieval times, the kings would go to war. They would plan wars. They're not really at war, just to control the population. And you see this top-down surveillance grid coming in with the CBDCs via the stable coins, and then AI surveillance all plugging into the flock cameras. So, like,
do you know about Terra Infinita?
No,
sounds hot.
what's Terra Infinita?
You don't know?
It's not related to the Terra company that Musk launched?
You guys don't know what's really going on?
Tell us. It's
I'll
graphene.
tell you. See, the world's flat. You didn't know this?
oh, come on.
Totally flat. Hold on.
He's messing with us.
And there's an ice wall, right, around us. But
70% of the world's fresh water.
Outside of the ice wall is not the edge of the planet.
Right. There's other countries.
There's a bunch of
I've seen the
other-
map.
And we're
Looks
all
like Middle Earth.
little slave pockets, like Middle Earth. There's
Martha.
a greater Earth is yes, one of them. I think greater Earth conspiracy theory is a much more fun conspiracy theory, and it makes more sense because the Earth is not flat, and like you can do tests.
I'm going to the ice wall and asking for asylum.
But wait. Greater Earth theory is the Earth is not flat; it's round. But the continents that we know are only on one eighth of the planet,
Right.
surrounded by ice. And Agartha and what's the other one? Asgard and
They named one Asgard.
Tartaria.
Like straight from Thor.
Yep.
What's where the Nordics are
Warcraft.
from?
Well, that's how you know it's
no.
real.
Asgard is where the Nordics are from. And so the conspiracy theory is that we are a slave race trapped within the ice wall that they guard to keep us inside because we do labor for them. The reason they extract from the GDP is they're taking our resources. They want gold, they want cobalt, they want these materials. So the conspiracy theory is that it's humans, advanced civilizations, breakaway civilizations, and the Nordic aliens are actually just the inhabitants.
I hope that's true.
Well, you saw that.
It'd be
Fox
cool,
News,
right? Like a whole
Jesse
new
Waters.
world.
He said that there's insectoids, reptilians, Nordics,
Who said
Greys.
that?
This was on Fox News, bro.
Yeah,
Jesse
but hold on,
Waters
hold
was
on.
saying that.
The types
Greys-
of aliens.
The Greys are just future people. The Greys don't actually interact all that much with
The
Earth.
future is white, kind of.
I mean, gray. But unfortunately for you, it's they're Asians.
They look more like, oh, well, that's why I hang out with Bach.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
What you have to say
But look at the Chinese right there. So
Those are Greys.
The Greys are from the future. They're humans who have come back, 100,000 years plus.
Yeah.
And they're just researching. That's why they don't really do anything. The insectoids are actual aliens from other planets.
I see.
But the Nordics are the 7-foot-tall, blonde, white, large.
Yeah, the guys in the red robes with Trump.
Swedes.
And the reptilians live underground. Now, here's the thing. The insectoids are actually a spacefaring race that sometimes come, so long as they don't interfere with the inner slave areas, sometimes they crash and there's interference, but the Nordics don't like it. Now, the Nordics are actually spacefaring and very advanced, and so they basically, with the insectoids, there's like a tense, I wouldn't call it like an alliance, but it's like Russia and the United States, you know? So
Right. They negotiate airspace.
the reptilians, however, aren't spacefaring. They just live underground. So they have access to the surface. They work with Nordics so long as they don't interfere with the slave colony. And the Greys largely just don't do anything.
I'm
You guys gotta know your
You got universal basic income.
You guys gotta know your conspiracies, man. Like all I do all day is read this stuff.
You don't think
Like, I
Greys
read
are
it.
biological androids, though?
No.
Why do you think they're Asians and from the future?
That's just the conspiracy theory. I don't actually think that.
As if all agents of the future are going to be biological androids.
Yeah, just 3 feet tall biological androids. I'm gonna fly BB out
They
to
get
the
short,
ice wall
thin,
and have him
hairless,
kiss
and they
it.
got big eyes.
And fly
know?
BB to the ice wall and have him.
That's how we're gonna break out.
If you want BB, then fuck you too.
But I think the
Fuck.
with the immigration stuff, what people aren't really considering is that everything Trump is succeeding on is going to result in deflation.
Well,
So,
I think the advent of artificial intelligence is really going to do that. I mean, Bezos has said this, Musk has said this. If the cost of goods and services plummets
Yeah.
because of the efficiency of artificial intelligence and robotics, that's inherently deflationary. So even on the AI argument alone, regardless of the policy issues, I think that we're going to see massive deflation in the next 10 years.
Yeah, there will be
Yeah.
deflation, but it will be in conjunction with just a massive amount of productivity.
100%.
I
People that owe a lot of money on their houses are going to be upside down.
Yeah.
oh, it's going to get
Nobody's
bad.
talking about like it's going to make 2008 look like
right in the next 10 or 15 years. So guys, everyone listening, understand this. Let's put a pin in the conspiracy theory stuff because I want to get back to that. If you've got $100,000, $120K on your mortgage, right, and you're making 50, 60K a year or something like this, maybe you're dual income with your wife, so you're together. You're
say
doing
it's
like
400 grand mortgage. That's about average,
400.
isn't it? 400.
It's up there.
Wow. Yeah, but are you can't like
There's a lot of people bought their house 20
average.
years
We
ago.
want median.
You're right. You're right. Go ahead.
So let's say we start seeing a deflationary period. Population has retracted. Understand this. Population is not collapsing. It has already collapsed. Gen Alpha is about 42 million.
Average mortgage debt is 258,000.
258. Okay. So understand this. Gen Alpha, who are now about, what are they approaching? 15 years old?
Yep.
15 years old?
Old enough for Epstein.
Well, they should be entering the workforce right now, but there's only 42 million. So when you think about 16-year-olds who come in and do the low-skill labor, they don't exist.
Right.
Gen Z is like 78, millennial is like 80, Gen X is like 70, and boomers are about to just die off.
Yep.
So boomers are at the mortality shelf, hitting 80 years old, which is when we're going to see massive. So it's an exponential increase. It's a parabolic curve because they're at the age of mortality.
Sure.
So they estimate that I think boomers in the next 10 years drop down to around 15 to 20 million. So that means we're going to see 40 million dying off the next 10 years. Voting patterns are going to shift.
Yep. 2032 is going to be a hell of an election year.
2032.
2032. Yeah.
Young people are hyperpolarized. So the left is communist and the right is America first, whatever you want to call it. But think about all of the houses in Detroit and what happened when people left Detroit. That same thing is going to happen to every single city. We're already starting to see centralization. Young people, just like in Japan, are moving from rural areas into cities because they want to be around other people.
And then they're not having families and bouncing back out like they used to.
They don't even have driver's licenses.
Yep.
They don't even drive. They don't know how to think without AI.
Yep. So your small town, your houses, your suburb houses are going to be worth nothing.
Yep, and then there'll be massive conglomeration too of who owns that property. I believe because if people are turned upside down on their mortgages because of the deflation, who's going to buy everything? Is it going to be the BlackRocks, whatever?
So literally nothing. And let me explain this.
You'll own nothing and be happy.
Because there's going to be, you're going to put your house on the market, and there's going to be zero buyers, zero, and you can tell yourself it must be worth something. This is the game that's being played right now, and you can look at most places. People are trying to sell. You go to DC, right? DC properties, like a family house, can range from $1 million to $2 million.
Sure.
They're diluting themselves. To be fair, I'll give DC a break
High demand.
because it's subsidized by the government. There's always going to be a requirement that people move there, so there's always going to be demand. So, okay, I'll cut DC some slack.
But in Nashville or in Austin.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep, Nashville and Austin. No, Austin's going to start condensing, so the outer brims are going to start dropping in value, and the small towns an hour or so outside are going to start dropping in value, and there will be zero buyers for these things. Now, as to So that's the real thing people should pay attention to. But let's go back to breakaway civilization stuff, because there's a couple different theories as to what's going on with population collapse, the war, and all that stuff. And you mentioned breakaway civilization type stuff. Outside of the crazy conspiracies about ice walls and flat Earth, we don't need none of that. There is just a question of, have the elites discovered advanced medical technology that we are not aware of, that's not public?
Like some Elysium shit.
Exactly. And was there a reason why they sent out mRNA vaccines? Was it how many doses did they give? 5 billion or some amount of doses?
Astronomical.
Is there a reason why? And there are theories that the global elites have started on the AI project. So AI started in the 70s with DARPA. That's when they first started making it. And the argument is dramatically reduce the population of the planet down to 500 million. And then the remaining humans.
Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah. The remaining humans live forever. And AI does most of the work. That's one of the conspiracy theories about. And I would just argue this is not it is plausible that there is advanced medical technology we are not aware of. Simply put, and population collapse, it's happening and it's traceable. AI is here. The question is, do the elites have advanced medical research technology that the public doesn't know about? And even if we remove that component from it, is the question simply the elite, global governance, the Davos group, multi-millionaires and billionaires, the Malthusians, do they want to dramatically reduce population intentionally and then mechanize everything so very few humans live on the planet?
Here's the thing to consider, too. Traditionally speaking, the political classes throughout the history of various civilizations have required a regular working class for labor, for production, for tax revenue, what have you. But if artificial intelligence and robotics successfully meets the demand of labor, then there's no need for the political elite to take care of or engender any regular working class. So I think at the point that labor is solved by technology, we as regular people become nothing but a liability to the existing political class at that time.
I would argue that, have you ever tried to imagine yourself sitting in their chair?
All the time. And
you're just thinking about how you'd have you're imagining this big compound with 300 chickens.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg sitting right next to you.
Playing GTA, and that's the only thing these people would ever want. No, I'm half kidding. How would you run the world? What would you try to do? And if you were one of these ultra elites, and I think when you think about that, and then you look at what's happening in the world, it seems fairly obvious. They outright say they want to reduce population growth.
Yep.
Explicitly.
Yep. Kamala Harris tried to walk it back, but she said it explicitly.
Bill Gates says he wants to reduce population growth despite the fact we're underwater.
My favorite farmer.
Indeed. A video goes viral where he says, with vaccines, we can reduce population growth by about 10 to 15%. And the media immediately was like, no. He's not talking about reducing population, just growth. You got to pause. Look at the trick. Bill Gates wants to reduce population growth when we're already negative?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I went and saw Bill Nye the Science Guy on a field trip in the 3rd grade, and his whole entire presentation was about how the population was getting too big.
Captain Planet told us not to have kids, remember?
Carbon is bad.
Well, he was,
Yep.
If I was the elite, I would have a plan called Agenda 2030, and I would create a bubble economy I can extract wealth from at the last minute, like SpaceX IPO, Anthropic, OpenAI. I would collapse that bubble economy, create inflation, deflation. Then I would move to Patagonia and start my own city-state.
Are you generally hostile to tech companies and stuff like that?
No, technology is a good thing. I'm not a troglodyte, but we can see, so I believe in a lot of, they signal the occult. I believe they're all Satan worshippers, from the Epstein class. And they have to tell you, as a metaphysical rule of the universe that God put into place, you have to tell the people what they're doing. They have to meet you halfway there. You can't just do it in deception. So they signal. You see Peter Thiel, you see Bezos, you see Musk, you see Bill Gates has 11 bunkers. You see all these different city-states that they're setting up outside of jurisdiction. You see even Israel. Remember with all the tourists going down there and they caught them burning down the whole Patagonia region? This has been covered. They're creating these
Patagonia region in Israel?
No, in Argentina. I mean.
Right.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So you see these little enclaves that they're forming with their technos city-states with Agenda 2030. It's the same reason LA burned down. It's not incompetence, Newsom drained the reservoirs. Bass was sitting there like, oh, I'm just a communist Cuban intelligence agent. I can't
And they'll
do
always
anything."
just say oopsie daisy.
Exactly.
Right,
So they're cleansing the surface ahead of, I don't know if it's a freaking asteroid, race-specific
Planet X.
bioweapons, but something big is coming, and they're
Nibiru.
extracting as much wealth as they possibly can. They're getting their enclaves ready.
Nibiru. You know about Nibiru, right?
Is it an anime?
Oh, come on, you guys.
I know about Planet Nibiru.
Hold on, Chase. You worked at InfoWars?
Yeah.
Do you not know these things?
Nibiru? You mean like Sitchins?
What?
Is that?
It might
the
be.
planet, right?
The Anunnaki?
Planet.
Yeah. That's
Oh, okay. I was scared for him. I was like, come on. I was like, we got an InfoWars guy. He's got to know.
Bach and I get along, but I don't agree
So,
with all the theories.
The conspiracy theory is that
I love all of them, though.
I don't know, you call it a religion or something. There's a planet with a 2,500-year elliptical orbit in our solar system, so it swings way out, where
It's called Rosie O'Donnell.
it gets really, really cold, and so they need to pulverize gold and blast it in their atmosphere to create a greenhouse effect, which keeps heat
We're
reflected
the
in.
slave race to mine gold.
Right. So we were genetically engineered 2,500 years ago. So when the planet comes back to Earth, they come and take all the gold. And the reason why gold is valuable to us is because they made us get it and mine it, and that's why Fort Knox is empty. So the planet is now arriving. They're preparing for the arrival of the
SpaceX
aliens.
is shipping all the gold straight into orbit.
That's really what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't think
And the
it's mine,
firmament is a
asteroid.
force field put by.
If they're this technologically capable, why wouldn't they, like gold is
Wait, hold
an
on.
abundant.
Wait. You're saying if the aliens are advanced, why don't they mine it from an asteroid?
Yeah.
That's exactly what the theory says they're doing.
Well, they're just a bunch of dickheads.
I mean,
Because
are we
they're enslaving us even though
dickheads
they
for
get it from
making-
different source.
Are we dickheads for making donkeys pull, carts of hay?
Oh, the
or
donkeys are pissed at us, dude. You seen that donkey in the Old Testament walking the road? Get behind me, Satan.
There was a really funny post where so it was a meme where some guy was like,
AOC's so pissed.
he was like, why didn't the hobbits just put the one ring around the neck of a chicken and then walk the chicken with them? Because even if the chicken was tempted, what can it really do? And then someone responded with, that's the exact mentality of the humans and elves in the book. Like they gave the ring to the hobbit. It's effectively a chicken to them as far as
right.
they're concerned.
Wow, it's eugenics in Lord of the Rings.
Well, I mean, they were like,
Yeah, Frodo wasn't
hobbits are
slamming any
doofy
post.
little drunkards that don't do anything. Make them carry it. You know?
Yeah.
There was a massive depopulation of the hobbits in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Sent them on a journey. They'll never have
Weren't
children.
they down to 2 and it was just 2 men
Yeah, Sam and Frodo.
touching tips?
No, there was 4 of them. There was 4 of them.
I don't think that
We
ever
could both
happened.
wear the ring at the same time.
I mean, can we just talk about how dumb it is? Like the ring makes you invisible, but it makes you invisible only to your friends, not to the bad guys. Like, how would that help you in any way?
If you're trying to hide from your friends.
I
We're
guess.
gonna do a hide and seek competition. Bet big on hide and seek.
I've actually been here all day, Tim. I was just wearing the ring.
Oh, so the Nazgul are gonna come here any minute now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am no man.
Fine.
Oh, that was so cringe. Was that really
It was
in the book?
Yeah, it was. I checked. I couldn't believe it.
I am no man. You know what? We should. You know
It's
what?
Michelle Obama.
I'm really excited for AI.
Just that's
And
the
then
AI
like he
next.
doesn't die.
Yeah, I cut. I am no man.
Oh man, hold on. We got a lot of people listening. Somebody make that on AI.
Yeah, please.
Somebody make Michelle.
like the Elliot Page stuff, but only it's Michelle Obama.
Yeah, so what seriously happens, Sauron gets his finger, he's like, no man can kill me. And then she goes, I am no man. And she tries to hit him, but stops. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and then
Big
everyone
cock flops out.
Everyone's, no, that's a little too much. Everyone just stops fighting and just looks. And she's
Yeah.
like, and then it just, cuts away.
I love
I
it.
am no man.
actually-
But you know what? I'm really excited for is, I'm excited for AI. It's almost to the point, you could do this right now, but I want to remake full movies.
Hell yes. I want to do a live action John Candy of the famous Frosty the Snowman cartoon.
A live action one.
The famous
yeah.
Frosty the Snowman cartoon. It's like 38 minutes
That
long.
sounds wholesome.
You make you make an AI version of it that's live action, so it looks like real actors, and you resurrect John Candy and you make him Frosty.
What is this? Family friendly shows?
Yeah.
I want to make. I
I
want
only
to
said
make
the F word one time.
that
I'm
one
being careful.
chick, played by what's her face, swing at Sauron and he grabs it and says, "Man means human being, you dumb bitch," and then he punches her in the face. That's what I
We could
want.
redo 12 Years a Slave, but switch the races. Exact same story.
Make Black Panther. Oh, someone already did that actually. I was going to say make Black Panther white, but someone literally did that. They made Channing Tatum the Black Panther.
Make Supergirl attractive.
I'd make Sidney Sweeney Hitler.
I want to remake Revenge of the Sith, and I want it to be like when Palpatine's on the ground going, "Please don't kill me," and then Mace Windu goes to kill him. Anakin's just like, okay, and then he dies, and then Anakin's like, "Well, I wasn't going to save him. He was trying
Deserve
to
the
kill you."
trial, dude.
But I just want Anakin
Just
to be
don't
like,
believe in
okay,
due process, Tim.
yeah. What have I done?
Well, I heard one of Tim's takes on having the right to vote. I'm a proponent of repealing the 19th Amendment, but you give women a choice where they don't get income taxed anymore if they do give it up. But then, like,
Pay them not to vote.
No. It's really simple. It's really simple. Men have the right to vote if they sign up for selective service. Women have the right to vote when they have a child.
I like that.
Or you can just do like, you can only vote if you have a child.
Or if you're married.
Yeah.
well, you're
Well,
just 3/5 of a person.
yeah. If
There's no such thing as a compromise with women, dude.
married, how about you can only vote if you're married with at least 3 children?
How about you can only vote if you're Stephen Bach?
We're going to go into a fascist dictatorship.
How about
The Overton window.
how about we just get rid of voting entirely?
Well, we already have.
So Baron Trump for Baron?
Yeah, just Lord Emperor Trump. But
Do you think he's the Antichrist?
No.
Who? Trump or
Baron.
Baron Trump?
Yeah, I hope he is.
Why?
Just because it would be so fun.
Yeah, but the Antichrist is like...
Handsome, charming, quiet, mysterious.
Yes, but you'd want him to be successful and actually help things, not be the guy who screws it up.
What
Are
do
you
you
guys
mean?
religious at all?
I'm not. I believe in God. I don't consider myself Christian.
Like, do you think things are going along a biblical prophecy timeline? Like, even if you didn't believe it, the elites believe it and try to trigger these.
Well, yeah.
events?
I think what makes the most sense is that I forgot that there's a word for this ideology where they. I watched this documentary, like not documentary, but like video essay about the interpretations of Revelation. That and I was forgetting that it's descriptive, predictive, or prescriptive.
Yeah.
In that
Same thing could be described for the WEF.
So the argument is that Revelation is telling us what already had happened. They were describing
Yes.
through allegory and metaphor, this is what happened to us. That's the descriptive. The predictive is here's what is going to happen. But the prescriptive is here's what you must do to bring about the end of days. So there's a theory, exactly. There's a theory that there are powerful elites with a lot of money that believe Revelation is prescriptive, that is instructing them on what to do in order to bring about the second coming of the Messiah. That's why they're intentionally trying to breed red heifers. That's why there's Christian evangelicals that are like Israel for everything. You know what I mean? They want to make it happen.
Do you think that they're going to create AI abundance, but for you to really embrace it and get it in your bank account, you're going to have to go through a Luciferian initiation to enter the New World Order?
So hold on. The concept of AI abundance means that you won't need a bank account, right? It's far closer to like techno-social.
Yeah, but you need
Like imagine
neural-
slavery, but
No,
instead of
guys,
black people, it's AI and it can do way more.
Here's the thing. You know what the future's going to be?
Gay.
It's going to be
Female.
It's gonna be,
The future's
already
female,
gay.
bro.
See?
It's pretty gay, right?
I'm how much more gay can it get? You're going to get Neuralinked, and you know where how they get rid of scarcity. We like to imagine Star Trek. You ever watch Star Trek: The Next
course.
Generation?
Yeah.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot. No, what's going to happen?
They had a
is-
Q in that too.
They had a Q in that.
Yeah, Q was one of the
He
antagonists.
could
Yeah.
make things.
QAnon.
Well, I wouldn't consider him an antagonist. He was actually very helpful, and I think there is a deeper story there. But in the future, when you walk up to your replicator and go, tea, Earl Grey, hot, what's going to do is it's going to make a glass of water, but your neural link is going to tell you that it's tea, Earl Grey, hot. And then when you go, it's actually going to make a glass of water.
Right,
It's going
right.
to pour the water in a cup.
And you're
gonna-
like blonde, young, hot.
and there's
Neur-
going to
and
be a
it'll be
fat
neurokink.
old woman.
Yeah,
and
neurokink will just make you think it's
You're going to
real.
go to a restaurant and you're going to go triple smash burger, extra bacon, double onions, double bacon, double onions, mustard, with pickles, and it's going to give you a cube of roach meat. And your Neuralink is going to wire your brain to see a cheeseburger, and you're going to pick up the roach meat raw, by the way, with the roaches, and you're going to go, oh man, it's so good. This burger is so juicy.
think it's gonna be that effective?
And then the best part is that you're going to be sitting like Chase and Steven. You're going to be sitting down eating burgers, but your Neuralink malfunctions, and then the burger he's holding turns into a bunch of worms and insects, and they're crawling
Yeah.
all over his face.
It actually happened to me one time when I did shrooms.
So the future's transhumanist then, and you're pretty much
100%.
we have the Borg, and then like for you
We're-
to keep
we're
getting
all-
all these senses, you're gonna get an Amazon Prime ad.
We're already transhumanists.
Do you guys
low
you guys
res.
ever watch Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
It's not as good anymore because they fired Justin Roiland. But remember like that older season where his car has to defend Summer from the cops?
I haven't seen that many episodes.
So Summer is sitting in his car, and his car is like a sentient AI. It's all humor, right? And so he's leaving, and he goes to the car and says, "Keep Summer safe." So a guy walks up, and the car shoots him in the spine with a laser, paralyzing him. And she's screaming like, don't do that. Don't do that to keep me safe. So the sentient AI is like, okay, whatever. So when the cops show up, what the car does is it genetically clones the dead son of one of the police officers, and a tube rolls out, and a small child gets up and he goes, Daddy? And the cop goes, oh my God,
Also happened to
Hunter!
mushrooms.
And he hugs his kid, and his kid melts. That's what AI is going to be like. So when you say
Sounds wonderful.
when you say transhumanist, right? Let me ask you this. These powerful elites with billions of dollars, what do you think they'd be willing to do to bring back their dead child? What would you be willing to do?
Go to dialogue.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
turn if I would turn into a
Here's Teal
Sith
Secret
Lord if it meant
Society.
that I could bring back dead loved ones.
I got to be honest on the dialogue thing is like you saw
They were
the
just
the
getting together.
leak.
They're just getting-
Yeah,
they're getting together talking about how to have better sex if you're a billionaire.
like the Bilderberg, I would say yes. Dialogue is like cringe Bilderberg. You know what I mean? Did you
dude.
look? They leaked.
They had Joseph Gordon-Levitt there. It can't be that cool.
Oh, they had Ted Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hey guys,
that's not gonna.
I'm
be
here for the
fun
how to
at
have
all.
better sex
Ezra
part.
Klein is there, and seriously, one of the events they were having is like how to have better sex.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know about that, but imagine to everybody listening right now, I ask you this: what would you do to bring back your child who died? Would you take over the world? Would you control? Would you do everything in your power to dominate the
Everything
planet?
Rosie O'Donnell would do for a Klondike bar.
Bro, I said if anybody ever harmed my child, I would make the whole world pay.
Yeah, 100%.
And so-
all those sand people, dude.
So when you look at Peter Thiel and you look at these powerful elites and what motivates them, think about that feeling. And if you don't know because you can't empathize, look up a video of a guy mourning that like a father at the casket of his son who died overseas, and then see what that guy he's reacting.
You think you love your dog? Just wait till you have a kid.
Imagine what that guy mourning his kid would do if you told him you would grant him unlimited power. Like, he's going to be a dictator. He's going to be like that dude would turn the Middle East to glass. It would be nightmarish.
Yeah, but if you believe in Jesus and you believe the teachings of the Bible, then you would know whatever that thing that they bring back is not your kid.
They don't believe that. They don't believe what you believe.
I just watched this movie.
Transhumanists
It's called,
do not believe that.
Have you guys seen Don't? It's like Have Fun, Don't Die.
Oh yeah,
They like
I
clone their.
wish it had an
kids.
ending.
They had to do like ads. Like they're like, well, it's less expensive if you have your
Sounds like a Black Mirror
your
episode.
son do like an Amazon or a pizza ad, and then it's wild.
So you're playing baseball with your kid, and every once in a while they tell you to go to Blockbuster.
yes, that's kind of what happened.
That was the one where the guy was from the future, right?
Yes, yeah. He.
I wish it had
came
an
back to
ending.
try and stop the 9-year-old from making AI God
Right.
or something.
It has
like
no
that.
ending. So
Yes, yeah.
don't watch those movies.
Letdown. at the
I'm
end.
sick of all these modern movies that have no endings. There's 2 acts. There's a meme where they said if they made a show called Surfing Dracula in the 90s, every episode would be about Dracula getting into crazy shenanigans while he's at a surf contest or on the beach. Today, when they create a show called Surfing Dracula, it's 9 episodes of a backstory origin, and then the season finale ends with 5 minutes of him surfing.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Passion of the Christ. What happens?
Well, they're making part 2.
Yeah, they're making
Yeah, right now in real time. We're trying to bring about the apocalypse.
No, they're literally making the movie.
I know,
2.
yeah. But that's not
I
going to
think
have an
Jim
ending
Caviezel's
either.
coming back too, right?
Is Mel Gibson's coming back, right? He's doing
Yeah.
it?
So
I love
just
Mel. What a hell of a guy.
think about the global elites, and they're not Christians. They don't have these ideas. They don't care.
Well, are they Luciferians though?
I don't
They
think
may
so.
believe.
So you think they're like atheistic essentially, or they believe they're gonna bring about a techno god?
I think they think they're gods.
I think there's that old joke. A bunch of scientists spend decades building an artificial intelligence to answer the great question, and they turn the machine on, it powers up, and they ask immediately, "Is there a God?" And the AI responds, "There is now." So that's the worldview they have. And so again, their attitude is, we can upload our consciousness. When we can write to our own brains, we can experience anything and have anything we want. You may not be a god of this world, but when you get a Neuralink with read-write capabilities, you can be a god of any universe you want.
Yeah. Was it Yuval Noah Harari who said, when he was asked if he believed in God, he said, not yet?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
He also he said we have too many useless eaters.
Yeah. A human is a hackable.
Yeah, that wasn't his idea though. There was someone else that.
Oh, useless eaters
Oh
are
yeah,
very
it comes
well.
from way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys. If they released Neuralink headbands. You put on the headband.
Non-invasive.
Non-invasive. It's a headband. You put it on, and it can read and write to your brain. So GTA 12, you can literally sit down in a chair.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Turn it on, and you are inside GTA, and you can feel everything move around.
Like Ready Player One?
Yep. But Ready Player
here's the
One
problem.
was haptic feedback. I'm saying you are literally feeling everything, and you can bang hookers and do whatever you want. Would you guys buy it?
Here's the thing. So if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have said, hell no, I'm not doing that. That's New World Order stuff. But I've got 2 little girls and a wife, and I'm a small business owner that does marketing, things like that during the day. It's highly competitive, highly saturated market that I'm in. If I want to provide for my family, I have to be competitive.
Yep.
And if it was a non-invasive thing and all my competitors were using it and I was losing clients because I wasn't able to...
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a video game.
I understand, but it's hard for me to separate those two issues because if the technology exists for a video game, then the same technology could exist for being productive.
So,
You know what I mean?
Sure, but immersive read-write experiences, I don't think...
I wouldn't do it just for fun, is what I'm trying to say.
What I'm saying is, I don't envision a path towards commerce through these VR experiences that are AI generated. I mean, you paying them for the experience, but I don't know how you wearing it and experiencing a world would make
I wear
someone
it
else
and
money.
it knows everything about my clients and it's able to do like massive market analysis and suggest to me and give me
You
ideas.
don't need that. AI is doing it already.
Yeah, but
That's
at a
white
much
collar
lower
stuff.
resolution than
No
if
way.
I put on a band.
No. Like by the time we have this, ASI is here, artificial superintelligence.
It's like in a Harry
say that's already here.
Remember in
I
Harry
think it
Potter
is.
when he drank the liquid luck and he just knew what to do and he was hyper effective for like second half of that movie, whichever
But
one.
the
it was.
AI can already do it. So again, by the time we get a read-write headband,
Yeah.
these tasks are gone. I mean, they're gone already.
I see
AI
what you
can
mean.
already do
I
it.
see what you mean. AI is going to
So my question is,
manually have to do.
would you put on the headband and play video games and immersive experiences where you get to be Harry Potter, where you get to be Luke Skywalker?
Listen, Tim, you're a very smart guy, but they
been
call
doing
me
this 30
Garth
years.
Brooks, and I'm the son of Genghis Khan. I'm a very peculiar person, so I didn't get my first iPhone until 2017, 2018. I had a flip phone. I held out for a long time. I already see the anti-technology movement burgeoning. Like, it's right on the cusp. And the more data centers they build out, the more resources they take, the more people they displace from the land and from the economy. It's just going to grow. So you're going to see the haves accept these new systems that are being put into place. And you're going to see the have-nots. They have nothing to lose. They're going to be the anti-technology movement. So
No way. The lower the quality of life is for the have-nots, the more inclined they're going to be to embrace this type of technology.
not if I hold my guns and my religion.
I gotta just, I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. I think it's about time you know.
Thank you.
You are non-player characters in a simulated reality where a teenage girl is playing Alex Jones Simulator, and she put on the Neuralink
Got good
headband.
taste. Epstein
She
would definitely do
became
it.
Alex Jones, and
Really an Indian guy, though.
it's a 16-year-old Indian girl. And she went to Walmart with her mom, and she's like, "Mom, look, they have Alex Jones Simulator for Neuralink. Can I get it? Can I get it?" And she's like, "It's $7,000. Just get one."
I've heard they
And
have
then
bad
she got
customer
it.
service.
She put it on, and then instantly she was like, "Whoa, I'm the host of InfoWars.
Wow, Chase has a
This is
great
crazy. Look at that guy. That's Chase." Have you ever noticed at any point Alex acting as though he was a 16-year-old Indian girl who just jumped into his own body?
I've never noticed that, but
Well, you know.
I was only with
So
him
we're
during
all
business
just,
hours.
everybody watching us, we're all NPCs in the Alex Jones simulation game.
That's really black pilled, though. You don't like. I always considered myself. If I went to prison, I would unite all the others. We were talking about this earlier.
All the other minorities.
Yeah, Hindus, everyone that's not
Doesn't
gonna
have
be
a real group.
with the Mexicans or the whites or the blacks, and then I would just help lead the revolution.
Miscellaneous 13.
Maybe it's a little bit of a messianic thing going on, but it's like why would you? You know you're gonna be absorbed.
What does that have to do with Alex Jones
It's a
simulator? I don't,
hysterical question, and it's a good question.
I don't know. I don't know, Tim. But I don't want to be part of a collective hive mind.
You want to unite everybody
what if,
against
what
this
if this is
technology.
just Donald Trump simulator, and there's some like 12-year-old kid who's playing Donald Trump as
Sounds more like the Epstein simulator.
no, if the 12-year-old kid is in control.
Oh.
Actually, no, that would make sense because he's attracted to little girls because he is a little boy. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like a 12-year-old boy, like is like, I'm gonna play this Epstein game, and then they're like, "What's he doing?" You know, it's like,
Just eating fish fillets and bombing Iran. What's your take on? Are you happy with how the whole Epstein files roll out and everything's going?
no, of course not. But I think anybody who believes there's actually files to be released at this point is, sniffing glue. It's like, come on, they burned those things a long time ago.
Every person that you see that talks about the Epstein files that has any kind of insider information have all sworn that they're going to read the files, read the list. We've got a group of people.
Yeah.
They're going to come out, and it's been 18 months of hearing that same thing. I don't think there's a list. I don't think
he's dead.
Well,
I don't think so either. Not after they released the papers where they said the prison officials created a fake body by stuffing pillows in boxes.
The only
into a body
explanation
bag.
for Cash Patel and Dan Bongino coming out and saying that he killed himself after all the months of content that they made.
No, Cash did not do that. Dan somewhat did.
Dan and Cash sat together next to each other.
Cash Patel, my understanding, because he even came on the show, he was very straightforward. We interviewed him, and he said
Prior to or after his role?
before he got in the FBI, we had him on the show, and he's like, Epstein killed himself. He told us that. Dan Bongino, on the other hand, was not as heavy as someone like Jones, but was very much in the, they ain't telling us what's really going on.
Okay.
But Cash, I don't know why people act like Cash Patel was some like outsider conspiracy guy. He's always been a pretty straightforward guy. He told us on the show that he didn't support Julian Assange, that he thought Epstein killed himself. And we were like, oh, yeah. Well, respect for you being honest and not trying to pander.
You don't think he's lying?
Cash?
Yeah.
Well,
He strikes me as incredibly honest.
Like not even being dishonest, but you
no. But
being
like,
the director.
But let's just let's lay this out. The director of the FBI is lying about everything all the time.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Nature of the
like
role.
Exactly. If you think Cash Patel is going to come out and be like, oh, here's everything we actually found, it would compromise security. It would compromise investigations. That doesn't mean trust him or the work that any of them have done in the past. Like Comey, like come on. But I would say this. I give Cash the benefit of the doubt. Just I'm biased. I know him. He's been
Is he pounding beers?
no. And that's all fake, dude. I can't. We've had him on the show several times. I've never seen him sloshed, drunk, inappropriate. He's always been professional, straightforward, calm, rational. And then you see all these smear pieces. I'll tell you the craziest thing is the Pulte smears. So me and my wife, we know Pulte. He's a good dude. He's a great dude. He got really famous because he was helping people pay off their debt.
I didn't know that. I don't even know who this is. Pardon my ignorance.
Bill Pulte is the acting DNI right now, replacing Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, okay. Now I know who you're talking
So, so me and my wife know him, and the way I would describe him, and I mean this with all due respect, is like a golden retriever. He's like a smiling, happy guy, straightforward.
He just wants to play fetch.
He just wants to play fetch. No, but we've hung out with him a couple times, and he's just like a happy suburban guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know how to explain it.
Country music sensation.
He's the guy who's going to be like, Chase, how's it going? How's the family? That's a good
You're the
sweater.
director of the DNI, bro.
But here's the funny thing. They post these pictures of him on Politico where he's like this. Have you seen that one where he's like,
Yeah,
looking
well, they
up-
did the same stuff with Alex Jones too, where they just
Right,
post the
right.
ugliest pictures they can.
And I'm like, knowing Bill, I'm imagining when I see him doing that, he's looking at like an egret. He's going, is that an egret? And it's an inquisitive, like, what's happening? But they try and make it look like he's like, ooh, I'm going to get you. So when they came out and they were like, he's a dangerous sycophant. He's Trump's henchman.
saw through it.
Well, of course, because I know Bill. And like, if you look at his actual pictures, he's like.
Why do you think Tulsi left?
Let me just say something real quick.
Sure.
So I told my wife, because she also knows Bill, and then I was like, look at this article, and she literally started laughing. She's like, what? And I'm like, now you understand how the media lies. Because like hanging out with Bill and having like tacos, and he's like, these are great tacos. I recommend the drink. Let me get you some drinks. And it's just very like a positive, and then the media portrays him as this evil guy with like a furrowed brow, like he's an evil Trump. Like what did they try to make a reference to him as, like an enforcer for the mafia? Yeah. My wife's busting out laughing, being like, are these people insane? I'm like, no, they're lying. Now, as to why Tulsi Gabbard left, don't you know?
Well, I know that she said it was because her husband was sick.
Well, a few months before she resigned, I went on my show and said, so when Joe Kent resigned, we know a lot of people in the Beltway. They come on this show. We talk to them. So I'm not gonna burn anybody, put him on the spot. But I've heard some rumors, and the rumors that I was told is that Joe Kent's resignation was planned. He's friends with Trump. He's grateful to Trump, and this is intentional. They want to bifurcate MAGA into the new left and right paradigm. So we create an Obama-Romney style of politics that ices out the progressives, the left, and the old school deep state.
The neoconservative right.
So Trump. Trump wants MAGA to break into a new left and right where you have Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, Tucker Carlson, and you have J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. This new left and right marginalizes the Democratic Party or their establishment, whatever that may be. I was told Tulsi Gabbard will resign. She will end up launching either a spoiler campaign in 2028 or maybe even as a Democrat. I said that on my show. The rumors are that Tulsi Gabbard is going to resign, that she's going to be building up a political campaign, and that way she can go up against J.D. Vance or Rubio or something like this.
So the schism on the right is meant to weaken the left?
The schism on the right is meant to create three factions in which you have 40%, 40%, 20%, and the Democrats being 20% can't win.
Interesting.
So it's either going to spoil or consume. And so when I heard this rumor, I reached out to somebody who is, let me just say, familial with Tulsi, and they said, I don't believe this. Let me reach out. Told me it's all fake. It's not happening. This is not real. And then several months later, Tulsi announces a resignation. Yeah. So I'm like, Tucker Carlson's flip on a dime. All of a sudden, he's anti-Republican. I'm like, I'm going to say this, guys. When someone tells me there's a plan in place to create a new left-right paradigm by splitting MAGA so it ices out and marginalizes the far left and makes them, they want to make like the Democrat progressives like a libertarian party, like 5%.
I see.
And then all of a sudden, Tucker Carlson comes out and says, I'm quitting the Republican Party. I can't support them. Tulsi Gabbard resigns. I'm like, well, again, I'm not saying it proves it's true, but these are indicators that the rumors I was told.
So you think that Trump's actually working with Tucker?
Yes.
And it's a psyop of sorts. That's got a negative connotation, but that's exactly what it is, right?
For sure. I was I went with Tucker to get some food after AmFest 2 years ago.
I'll say he's tricky. Like I really like Tucker a lot. I met him one time, but I picked up that he was
Machiavellian?
Clever. Yeah.
So after AmFest, not last year because we weren't there, but the year before, my wife and Tucker brought us out for dinner. Very nice. Greatly appreciate it. Though I've been critical of him lately, but I do respect it, and I do appreciate it. We got in a car. He drove us to this amazing little secret restaurant. On the way there, Trump called him. Trump had watched the show, and they were laughing together, and Tucker's on the phone. Like exactly as
like Mozart.
And I said to my wife after, I was like, I'm pretty sure they did that call intentionally for us to hear.
Wild.
It was conversations about the presidency and politics moving forward and things like this. And they were friends. Trump called him on the phone. He was at the White House only last year. I don't see a reality where Tucker Carlson just instantly overnight is not friends with Trump anymore. Mm-hmm. So again, when I'm told that there is this play and the goal is how do you stop the deep state from getting their power back, you marginalize them. What the Democrats have right now is one thing. They hate Trump. So you create a spoiler with a Tulsi Gabbard, a Tucker Carlson, a Candace Owens.
Seems like there's a segment of the right that also despises Trump.
Well, that is the Tucker Carlson, the Candace Owens, et cetera. Right. The point is, if the Democrats only vote on hating Trump, if you can pull 10% to a moderate or right-leaning anti-Trump party, Trump can't lose. Or not Trump, but J.D. Vance or Rubio or whoever else.
Understood.
The strategy there is...
And he came out and said that he supported Vance the day after he said that he was leaving the GOP.
Yeah. And so, again, it was explained to me around the time Kent left that Tulsi was going to resign. She was going to be preparing a 2028 campaign that was going to be a spoiler or even as a Democrat to go to basically be an anti-war. And you're going to see people like Tucker Carlson. Candace was already doing it. Now it's every day more and more of that scenario seems to be happening. So imagine a 2028 where Tucker Carlson says, Trump is wrong. He's bad. We can't support this. Joy Reid came out and said, I won't support the Democrats over Israel. Tucker Carlson says, I won't support the GOP over Israel. So what happens when Democrats have no policies, but I hate Trump, are going to be told, don't vote for Vance. He's Trump Jr. But 10% of Democrat voters decide to vote for a Gabbard Kent or a Carlson, Gabbard or something. It spoils them. Taking even 3 points away from Democrats stops them from winning.
Yeah.
Why would you force out? Okay, so if Trump's playing the heel and creating a new dialectic,
he's not playing the heel.
Okay, well, for me, because I kind of I supported Trump for a long time and I've turned on him a lot. But if this is true,
so real quick though, so what changed then for you? Why did you support Israel before, but you don't now?
No, not Israel, Trump.
Right. But so what has Trump done that's made you change your mind?
I wanted to vote in the freaking Terminator, and I feel like I got some
what I know, but what did you want him to do?
I wanted mass deportations to the tune of at least a minimum 10 million to 40 million. That would help solve the
but
housing
that's not
crisis.
physically possible in the short term. And so he's closed the border. We've gotten
I don't know. The Germans did it.
Sure, we've got several 100,000 deportations, and he just won the TPS case, and it's been a year and a half.
Yeah, but
now
they vote. So the Democrats bring them in for a demographic change to vote as a bloc, right? To keep them in power. But this whole plan, I'm hearing it. I want to believe it, but if you don't remove them,
no. But hold on, like I'm. You're describing the thing I'm most happy with. Watson v. RNC is going to end their ability to utilize illegal immigrants towards voting. They're not going to be able to muster up universal mail-in votes if this comes through. He's closed the border. He just got TPS turned off, and he got metering reestablished.
I mean, it sounds
so
like
all of those things you wanted are literally happening.
I'm not worried about more people coming in under refugee status. I'm worried about the 40 million already.
I understand, but what you're saying is you wanted Trump to come in and genie snap and have people evaporate.
Yeah, like this is something that people say all the time, right? That people that are critical of Trump now. And it's fine if you're critical, but like if you're expecting Donald Trump to come in and do king things, that was never an option. Right, like so to say to say that you're mad at Donald Trump because he hasn't done things that he never had the power to do. That's not like that's not an argument.
Hold on, we're talking about genie things.
Well, fair enough.
Trump was never going to be able to take 10 million people instantly because you got to find them first. You can't find 10 million people in 6 months.
They haven't incentivized self-deportation enough. We got 1.9, it said, right? 1.7 to self-deport because you take away the incentives.
But you're making the perfect enemy of the good here. Like, look at the Supreme Court rulings we just got. These are generational slam dunks.
Look, no one likes how the sausage is made in Washington, right? Nobody likes that.
But that's the Neuralink on.
Well, I mean, fair enough. But the point is, like, it's fine to be like, I wish that it was happening faster, but to say, oh, I don't like Donald Trump anymore because it's not happening as fast as I want, that's really counterproductive. But hold on, because you end up giving. You give help to the enemies of the United States. You give help to the Democrats. You're making the same arguments that Democrats make against Donald Trump. Oh, he's not doing this. He's bad, blah, blah, blah. And all you do is contribute to the problems that the Republicans are facing in the midterms. Going and saying, look.
Unless it's all part of the new dialectic plan.
Well, I don't know anything about it.
Bach's actually helping out this plan manifest.
Yeah, I don't see like right now the best idea I heard was it Benjamin Michael, I think, said debank the
yeah, that's great.
Debank them all.
It's great.
And then the idea being attach visas to make it any banking done by a non-citizen has to be through their visa.
Yep.
So their account is attached to the visa. If the visa expires, the account is suspended.
And that's
a brilliant idea.
I'm as hardline on immigration and deportations as it comes. Like, I agree with you. Like, I want to see those kind of numbers sent away. I don't want any immigration for at least 10 years, probably 20. End it all. Get rid of H-1Bs. Maybe the O-1s, the actually special people can come in. But other than that, no immigration. We don't need to add more people. I personally have a pretty positive outlook on AI and robotics, and I think that all of the stuff that we say that that immigrants are needed for, robots are going to be able to do within the next 5 to 10 years. So, like, I'm sympathetic with your perspective, but to turn on the most viable political vehicle available, which is what Donald Trump is, to turn on Donald Trump and say, oh, well, he's just not getting it done, and so we're gonna throw away the Republican Party, and it's fine if the Democrats win the midterms, and we're gonna trash the Republicans and stuff, and not work to bolster the existing right wing in the United States is counterproductive, and it only means that things get worse after the midterms.
So I have a two-part answer. I'm not naive. I have expectations and I know reality, but I've seen a reoccurring trend with Trump, and it started with Amy Coney Barrett when you could have gotten Barbara Lago in. Cuban judge, very hardliner, very right-wing. But instead, he went with Coney Barrett, who's voted against a lot of his decisions so far. He brings in these people like Pam Bondi. I understand Gates got caught in a honey trap or whatever the hell happened. But then you replace her with Todd Blanche, lifelong Democrat.
Todd Blanche has been doing great.
I mean, you had a marquee free speech case with Alex Jones. He goes, oh, he's just a kook.
Well, I know.
He could have really bolstered.
But like, I'm looking at the macro. I'm not looking at the micro. It sounds like you're mad about like the micro instead of the macro.
No, well,
can we just briefly say, regardless of whether or not this is an accurate perspective or position, just say that the vast majority of the real authentic antagonism against Trump is the perception, not necessarily the reality, but the perception that he's covering for the Epstein, regardless of whether it's actually true.
He is.
And the perception that getting involved in a war with Iran is like George Bush 2.0.
He went against the generals.
Right. And the perception that he's somehow controlled by Israel, regardless of whether those things are true, that those three main issues seem to be the fuel, right, for the antagonism.
And again, to that point I was making
the right against
before,
Trump.
those issues largely play to a spoiler candidacy to knock out the Democrats. You split the Democrats 30%, 30%, Trump or Vance only needs 40%. So again, be mad about those things, and that
What
could
if
be
the
a majority of
Democrats
the country.
decide to support neither a Vance ticket or a neoconservative traditional
You mean
ticket?
the Republicans?
What if
The Democrats?
I guess I'm confused because I'm having a hard time. Maybe you could rephrase it for me to understand. It's hard for me to understand
So a
how
spoiler-
splitting one side of the political spectrum
Yep.
weakens the other side of the political spectrum. If you
Like you don't like a spoiler candidacy. You know what a spoiler candidacy is?
like when you run like a fake candidate in order to
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it a fake candidate, but a spoiler candidate polls
a candidate
from the
not
opposing
meant to
party.
win. Yeah.
So Tulsi Gabbard, who is moderate, runs as anti-war and
As a Democrat.
as an independent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pulls votes away from whoever the Democratic
And
ticket
if you
candidate
can
is.
split the Democratic Party, if you can pull even 10%, then J.D. Vance wins.
Yeah, but wouldn't a lot of Republicans who have a similar perspective
Republicans
on
aren't
Trump,
voting for Tulsi Gabbard.
but a lot of independents would.
A lot of Republicans might not
correct.
vote.
And the claim is
Mm-hmm.
you will pull more from the Democrats. So let's say a Tulsi Kent ticket or a Carlson Gabbard ticket pulls in 30%. 10% came from the Republicans, 20% came from the Democrats.
Okay.
10% net gain for the Republican Party. That's it.
But going back to my point, I just want to say this. There was an actual game plan. I've heard this before that could have been laid out to make it feasible. You're not going to go and nab 10 million illegals and get them out of the country. It's not
You gotta find
logistically
'em.
possible. But you incentivize self-deportation. You open up refugee status to countries like the UK and South Africa, and you do the reverse Democrat. And then you go out and expand ICE, which they did approve the $70 billion budget in perpetuity for the rest of his term. So I do see him doing that. But why would you chase out a Bovino, the hardliner? Why would you have all these
well,
lifelong lobbyists in that go against you a lot of the time?
The first thing I will say is my advice to you and to everybody else is to stop assuming you understand the chessboard. I don't operate as though I understand the entirety of the chessboard. So I take a look at everything that's playing out and try to understand to the best of my ability what they're doing. So what I will say in response to this is you are looking through a keyhole. There is a 1,000 bedroom mansion with 1,000 doors all around the building, and you're taking a look through one keyhole, yelling based on what you see inside while not seeing literally anything else. I could create an infinite number of hypotheticals to explain away why it is Bongino did what he did, why it is that Trump did what he did, but it's meaningless. We just don't know. So people like to say, why would Trump go to war with Iran? Well, honest question. Do you believe Trump literally had no reason to start the war with Iran?
No, I don't believe.
No, I don't
he had
believe that.
reason.
There was a reason.
There was a reason.
Now, we don't know if that reason was good or bad, but presumably there was a reason. Do you think that Donald Trump, when weighing his options, knowing there's domestic issues and foreign policy issues, makes those decisions lightly?
No.
Agreed. And so my issue ultimately is Trump is far from perfect, makes a lot of mistakes. Certainly we can say Pam Bondi, we can say Amy Coney Barrett, for sure, but it doesn't mean he's not been particularly effective in key areas. And then the ultimate question is, when it comes to the thing like the war with Iran or Syria, we only know 2%, if we're lucky, about what's really going on in those scenarios. The final question is, do you trust Trump? That's it. And
I
that's
used
not
to
even,
think he's played 5D chess, but I'm not so sure anymore. It's like, okay, another example. Do you think that Trump wasn't sophisticated enough to know that Howard Nuttlick was in the Epstein files? And then why would you engender yourself and bring these people into your orbit and endorse them and protect them?
Okay, so
It only
let's start
hurts
with
you.
let's start with a couple of questions. Why do you think Trump is trying to wash away the Epstein files?
My opinion could be a fool, but you ask questions, I'm going to give you an honest answer.
Yeah.
My opinion is that we're in the middle of this conflict with Iran, largely centered around protecting the petrodollar. And I believe that the Epstein files, if truly revealed, will explicitly reveal that Epstein was working on behalf of Mossad, and that undermining popular support for Israel in the middle of a conflict with Iran is not conducive to a successful outcome in a national security issue.
Do you think that there are Saudi princes who had sex with underage girls?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think Epstein helped to procure those girls for these guys? Mm-hmm. Do you think the Saudis would, our relationship with Saudi Arabia would be in turmoil if Trump allowed for documents alleging that these Saudi princes were raping little
100%,
girls?
but here's what's frustrating. What's frustrating is that we've allowed our nation to come to a position where, from a national security perspective, we have to cover,
of course,
for such evil.
Okay,
so
here's the
and I'm not
question.
saying that's Trump's
So
fault,
right?
but like, what do we have to more fundamentally disrupt in order to make this never happen again?
So let me ask you the question, right? Hypothetical. If releasing the true unredacted Epstein files would result in total economic collapse of the United States and the end of the SWIFT payment system and the petrodollar, would you be in favor of it?
Yeah.
It's going to happen anyways.
Well,
it's already happening.
My answer is largely yes, but that's because I'm resigned to living on a farm and taking care of chickens.
And I'm resigned to moving in with you.
But you understand what this means, right? It means probably 60 million dead Americans in 3 months.
But if you build a nation and a global economy on the lie that is our currency, it's only going to, in like a exponential way.
That's a fine ideological position.
Taking the hit now is better than taking the hit later, is what I'm trying to say.
If there are presuppositions in this, but let's assume that I believe there are two principal issues with the Epstein files that Trump is like, we don't want to release the real details. One is that I'd be willing to bet everything that their Saudi prince is banging little girls. And I mean, in these countries, it's illegal. So to their perspective, they're like, what did I do wrong? In America, it's sever all ties with these people. They're pedophiles. Would the American people
Unless it's Jimmy
support
Page.
U.S. relationships with Saudi Arabian princes? Hell no. So Trump is saying, I don't want to risk that. We need their oil production in the Western sphere of influence. The other thing is there's a lot of powerful people like Bill Gates, who we learned in these files was potentially gave his wife STDs, and then Epstein claimed he was trying to procure antibiotics to slit to his wife to cure her. So he's getting blackmailed. And Bill Gates, I believe he testified recently, something to the effect that Epstein was trying to blackmail him. Mm-hmm. Trump has that blackmail now. I'm not saying Trump's a good guy. I'm not saying these things are good things. What I'm saying is, should that be the case, Donald Trump is never going to release these files. You're not going to go to Trump and say, let's burn down the American empire overnight. Like, you didn't do it, Trump. The American people didn't do it. No one's happy that it happened. But the previous administration, all those people did these evil things. And if it comes to light, America is over. Trump's going to say, never happening.
There's ways to mitigate that, though. Number one,
no, there's not.
When you cover for them, you are joining the deep state. Number two, you were given a grand slam weapon. Instead of having these little dialectics and clever plans to split the party, you could have gone scorched earth and done a limited hangout, limited release. Like, hey, we're going to get the generals of the Epstein class. The subordinates and the minions, you're going to fall into place. Maybe you'll do 10 years.
But again,
you roll on them.
That theory is that Trump controls them now. Why would he want to put a billionaire in prison who now bends the knee to Trump?
Here's the other fascinating aspect of this, too. Why would he sign an executive order to release the Epstein files and then later decide not to release all
because
of them?
they don't exist anymore.
Well, I think
the moment Epstein got caught,
I think once he saw what was in them, he realized that releasing them was going to undermine leverage that they create.
I agree with that. I also think it's detrimental to the United States. The U.S. So here's a funny thing, right? There are people who sued Twitter because Twitter censored them.
Yep.
And they were winning. Then Elon bought Twitter. Does it make sense to sue Elon Musk, who's now on your side? Twitter is still Twitter. Control has shifted. What do? Right?
So you're trying to make a comparison to the Trump administration. He's
what
coming
I'm
into
saying
a corrupt
is
system.
Trump inherited a government from evil, sick, twisted pedophiles, and now he has to contend with the mistakes they made in that brand. Do we want the United States to burn to the ground? And again, it's all hypothetical. My argument is still, guys, I have no illusions the United States would remain the global empire or whatever. And that the reality to that, I hope everyone realizes this, is hyperinflation, a loaf of bread costing $50. What we're looking, so let's big picture this. I do not believe Trump has bad intentions for the American people. I believe Trump is is the last bastion for American tradition, the American citizen, against a multicultural global democracy that has been infecting and trying to destroy it. So I trust Trump to a degree, but I also trust Trump to lie a lot. That means with Trump as president and his agenda continuing, America can pull out of this tailspin and come to be a better place. The deep state's mission was going to burn us to the ground, open our borders, and turn us into a balkanized, open, like it was just going to destroy America. There was going to be no functional governance, non-citizens voting, stripping money from the coffers. When you go to the big picture, you take a look at Iran. I'm only going to give the short version of this because we've done this 17 million times. The first thing Trump does when he gets into office is he starts killing narco terrorists in the Caribbean. He starts. He renames the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Yep, closes the border.
So, closes the border. He surrounds Cuba. The Gulf starts seeing large commercial exports of oil. He then seizes Venezuela, the largest oil producer in the world. And then he clogs the Strait of Hormuz for 4 months, cutting off China from their 40 to 50% of their energy imports.
That's more than that, I think, man. I think it's like 70% or something.
It may be. And so, again, you're Trump. You're sitting in an office. Hegseth comes to you. You got Kash Patel. You got, Kristi Noem, whoever else. And they say, we got to win on the SAVE Act. You need to win. The Republicans must win the midterms. We can't let the Democrats take power. That being said, if we do not constrain China right now, they take over the global economy in 2030 and we lose.
Yep.
So Trump says, then our first priority is going to be shut the Strait of Hormuz down. And so as soon as they get in, Trump takes a series of actions that all lines up perfectly toward the West and the Gulf will become the largest oil exporter. The re-seizure of the Panama Canal, the negotiations on the Northwest Passage. The Gulf is now one of the largest, the largest oil exporter. The Emirates have left OPEC.
Totally understand.
Collapsed. So when you're like, Trump is doing things I don't like, these may be the very best things that could be happening.
I understand where you're coming from, and I actually agree with everything that you're saying. But what bothers me most about this, long gone are the days of, hey, America has to beat the Nazis. Like, it was a different country back then, at least seemingly less corrupt. We are so corrupt now that obviously I want to win the artificial intelligence arms race, the space race against China. Obviously, I don't want China to have economic dominance into the 21st century in the same way that the United States had economic dominance in the 20th century. Obviously, I don't want those things. However, if we do win the AI arms race, and if we do win the space race, and if we do secure economic dominance in the 21st century, we are our own version of corrupt. It won't be the CCP, surveillance state that they have. It won't be this dangerous total undermining of our national safety here in the United States. But I'm concerned of what a Patriot Act looks like, powered by artificial intelligence.
It'll become a soft version of that.
And so we have to solve the fundamental corruption in our own. If we're gonna win this war against China, then we have to make sure that when we come out the other side, we're not as corrupt as we are today.
If there's one thing you want to level at Trump, that's it. Like the Epstein thing, like easy. Like we were pissed about that. You can't play this game on the Epstein stuff and just leave us in the dark and lie about it. But the AI stuff, Trump's behind 100%. So if you're mad about all that, Trump is not your guy.
I'm not mad about the AI stuff. I see it as
I'm saying AI surveillance state. Trump is behind.
I know.
Trump is for it.
But I'm
fully embedded with the PayPal mafia.
He did, what was it, Quantum Leap or whatever, that massive funding for AI expansion?
The Quantum Leap Forward?
Is that what it was?
He's been Q posting the past couple of days about this investment with Quantum. But this is I don't agree with the method. I'm not 100% soured on Trump, but the problem is, you had the House, you had the Senate. I don't have all the information. I understand, but I'm afraid you're going to become the thing you're fighting.
Have the House, have the House, and have the Senate are almost loaded terms. We had a razor-thin majority in the House, and we have a razor-thin majority in the Senate.
Well, half the Republicans that we have blow. I mean, you got Lindsey Graham.
That's true, but you don't get, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you wish you had.
But you said you become the thing you're fighting. What do you think Trump is fighting against?
The demise of the American empire, and you see the grand strategy. You see Greenland. We're starving Canada economically. I think we're going to annex part of it or open up refugee status. I do think it's going to happen. I believe a deal's been cut between Trump and Zeta.
Right. You said world. You become something that you're fighting against. So if Trump is fighting against the people to destroy America, Trump is, everything I see him doing is revitalizing America. So I don't see how he becomes something that destroys America when his actions are moving towards.
Well, it's a dangerous game. We're assuming the deep state doesn't have tricks up its state. This is why I was so mad. I was like, dude, you're racing against the 4-year clock. You have to mass deport at least 10 million. There's different ways to get there.
They're not voting. The issue is
they're voting in liberal states.
They're not voting. And what they're doing is they're padding the census number so that they get extra electoral college
redistricting.
Right.
No.
They count the illegals as residents so they can get more reps in a state like California, for example.
That's what redistricting is.
No.
Not exactly.
Well,
no, it's not. So California has an estimated 2 to 4 extra congressional seats based on the illegal immigrant population. Mm-hmm. If you were to deport all of them, or just not apply those people to the census, then California loses between 2 and 4 electoral college votes for the president.
And reps in Congress.
Exactly. It's not that the illegal immigrants are casting ballots. It's that they get extra votes because of their existence.
Population,
Yep.
So you think Texas is purple?
Well, yes.
As goes Texas, so goes the United States. Look at how many seats they
The
have.
issue with Texas is that it also has extra Democrat congressional seats because the major metros have large illegal immigrant populations. If you remove illegal immigrants from every state, only Democrats go down because of sanctuary states, sanctuary cities. But I do believe Texas is purple because I've been to Austin and I've been to Houston and I've been to Dallas.
But if you look at the numbers of their gubernatorial races, I mean, Republican governors win by a landslide.
It's true, but the important thing, people don't get, like in New York, you know who got these commies over the line? It wasn't foreigners. It was white, affluent, like
Male
millennials.
feminists.
Right, you got to marry him and put a baby
And
in
in
him, otherwise
Texas,
they're going to vote against
do you know
you.
who votes Democrat in Texas? Natives, people,
Gays?
and the people who are the people who are born in Texas vote Democrat, and the people who move to Texas vote Republican.
That's very interesting.
I moved to Texas and voted Republican.
Hey, I have a narrow urethra. Can I go pee?
Yes,
Thank you.
Don't close the door; it'll lock you out.
yeah. So anyway, Trump's the best. He's never done anything wrong, and Israel is our greatest ally.
Whoa, easy.
That last one there, man.
Look, I mean, I understand all of the frustrations with Donald Trump there, and some of them I think are legitimate. Some of them I have questions about. But at the end of the day, Tate Brown, like one of the guys.
I'm so glad I voted for him. Don't get me wrong.
Well, not only that,
Tate
but
Brown,
like
really?
Well, Tate Brown's another guy that works here, and he has this great phrase, which is Donald Trump is the most viable political vehicle available. Whether you like the conservatives, the Republicans, the GOP or not, the options are going to be the GOP and Donald Trump, or GOP and whoever is running, gets the nomination, or someone that will cater to literal communists. Because
100%.
the DSA
I'd rather
is
take the
on
evil
the
of
march
the GOP over the evil of the last
every
day of
single
the week.
day and twice on Sunday.
But I'm not content to just allow that paradigm to continue to exist.
That's perfectly fine. And I don't have a problem with people criticizing Trump, but when people are just like, I turned against him, or I'm not going to vote for the Republicans because of it. I'm not going to vote. I won't vote for the lesser of the two evils. It's not the lesser of the two evils. It's voting for the one that actually isn't evil. It's flawed. It's imperfect.
According to what Tim
but the
said,
communists
that's
are
intentional Trump
actually
strategy
evil.
for to split the right.
I don't think that that's actually.
Am I misinterpreting what you
Split
said?
the right?
I must be just totally
You are
misinterpreting what you said.
totally misunderstanding.
All right.
I think that he's saying a
Okay.
hypothetical.
So the rumor is Trump wins the popular vote.
Yeah.
Most people have aligned culturally with the right, from
Yes.
Joe Rogan in the middle.
Yes.
So now you have a dominant cultural faction.
Yes.
You bud off your more progressive elements like RFK, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep.
You get some conservatives who are anti-war like Tucker or Joe Kent.
Yep.
This does pull from your side a little bit, but it pulls more from the moderates who might vote Democrat because they hate Trump. These are spoiler candidates. So the goal is to pull 10% from the Democrats and 5% from Republicans so that Republicans get a 5% net gain in 2028.
So if you support the spoiler candidates,
I mean, you're more than
you're helping
welcome.
manifest the strategy, right?
Well, I mean, you're more than welcome to do that.
Anybody who's aware of this should vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Let the people
Or-
who don't pay attention and hate Trump vote for those who hate
Or
Trump.
vote for vote for whoever
So here's
the
the
GOP
point.
nominee is.
You get a Democrat candidate who is a woke lunatic.
Yep.
And there are going to be, I know, I'll tell you, I have the perfect idea of the guy in my mind. A friend of mine, an older guy, he says he's a conservative and voted Republican his whole life. He hates the Democrats, but Trump is insane, and Trump must be stopped. You bring a Carlson Gabbard ticket, that guy don't vote Democrat no more. He votes for Gabbard Carlson. Democrats just lost a vote that Trump was never going to get.
I understand.
Yep.
Listen, Tim, you have a beautiful bow day, but we could lose the midterms.
Bid day.
I mean, look again. We likely. I've been saying this a lot. It's
I just want
likely
to go to
that
an All That Remains concert and not have to worry about my mortgage.
I can't do anything about the mortgage, but I know a guy about the concert. Like there is a likelihood that the Republicans are going to lose the House, right? Like that's kind of what it is.
Certainly
kinda
feels
baked
that
in.
way.
If the economy is doing well, I think the Republicans can keep the House. That's not saying they will. I think they can. If the economy is not doing well, they're guaranteed to lose it.
I still don't think so.
What, you don't think they're guaranteed to lose it?
I think that we are waiting with bated breath on Watson v. RNC to see how the Supreme Court rules on mail-in voting. Even a narrow ruling, like, just destroys the Democrat voter base. If the Supreme Court, are you familiar with Watson v. RNC?
Please enlighten
Simple
me.
question: can any jurisdiction count ballots after Election Day?
Oh, I would say
And it
no.
seems very likely because of the oral argument. Supreme Court's going to say no, you cannot. If this ruling was in place in 2018, Trump would have held the midterms, breaking a historic trend.
Yep.
But what happened was in 2018, after Election Day, everybody on the right celebrating no blue wave. The Republicans did it. They staved off a Democrat blue wave. And then 3 weeks later, somehow, Democrats all won like 10 seats or whatever.
Yep.
And it's because everyone in the media went, well, it's called a mirage because they were still receiving ballots that were arriving late. And once they counted them, Democrats won.
Right.
You take that away, and Spencer Pratt wins second place in the LA mayoral race.
But I do think that the what happened Tuesday in New York and the shock that a lot of Democrats are feeling because of it, I think that might actually have an effect on the midterms as well. If people think that communists, actual communists, people are, so one of the things that they talked about a lot was defund the police, or some of the things is defund the police, and they want open borders. Those are two things that are unpopular with independents and Republicans and most Democrats. If you get a lot of people that are heading to Congress that actually, are going up
That
against
radicalized, yeah.
that radicalized, you might see people say, "I'm not sending that nutbag to Congress,"
Right.
Because it's totally unpopular. The idea of defund the police is outside of the realm of reasonable politics, and the idea of open borders, like we shouldn't have a border at all, which is Shvala, I think is how you pronounce her name. She was saying there shouldn't be a border. Anyone that wants to come and go should be able to go as they please. Those kind of things, Americans across the political spectrum are against, except for the most extreme left wingers. So it's possible that the Republicans hold Congress. If they do, then we'll see more of the Trump policies being pushed. If they don't, the Democrats are just going to throw a wrench in the works, and all the things that we're talking about, hoping for, forget about them. Forget it. Like there's going to be papers of impeachment. They're going to be doing everything they can to block stuff. Sure. Forget about any kind of advancements. They're probably going to do things that'll try to prevent more deportations. All that stuff's out the window. So I understand what you're saying. And I agree, I would like to see more, but it's so important that we don't allow crazy communists to take control, to get into a position where they're influencing national politics, where a handful of Congress people are influencing national politics. And I understand, like I said, I understand being upset about whether it be the Epstein files or being upset about not enough deportations. Your options are not, oh, well, I'm going to turn my back on the Republicans and not vote and not try to promote the Republican candidates because I'm mad at Donald Trump. You're only going to help the communists if you do that. And I'm not using the term communist lightly. It's not like I'm talking about
communists.
Yeah, they're openly
not Red Scare shit. It's I get it.
It's like there's two options, and people say, oh, I'm not going to vote for the lesser of the two evils, blah blah blah. Again, you're not voting for the lesser of the two evils. You're voting to possibly continue the policies that the parts of Donald Trump that you do like, or you're not voting and saying, well, I'm not gonna get out and vote, and I'm not gonna help the GOP because I don't like them. I'm mad about them. And so so when the Democrats win, all the stuff you want, forget about it.
I'm not naive, and I'll always vote red over blue. But this is the problem. If you had just shot straight, you could have done a lot of different ways. Like inflation's at the same Biden era levels. Our strategic petroleum reserve is at all-time low since the 80s. What'd you say?
Meaningless.
I mean, it's not meaningless to me. And the problem is Republicans might not show up
again,
to vote.
Period. That's the only meaningful thing about it, I would argue. How do you muster up popular support? I talked about this, the Dave Rubin Parker debate. I don't know if you guys saw it. Everybody made fun of Dave Rubin.
I haven't watched any Dave Rubin content.
And well, it was Jubilee. And Parker said, by what metric has Trump improved the country, like GDP, inflation? And Dave didn't have an answer. See, the problem with that is that's like a high school freshman whose first discovery of news. And they're like, wow, inflation's really bad. That must mean Trump is doing a bad job. So I'll give you a simple analogy. Let's say you're driving to work and your car tire explodes. You got to get it replaced. So you call a tow truck. That costs you $200. You bring it to an AutoZone or wherever, you get a mechanic. They change out your tires, another $200. Your bank account now says negative $400 for the month. I then look at your bank account and go, holy crap, this guy must be retarded. You're running your business into the ground. You're minus $400 this month? I mean, wow. You should not be in charge of your finances. You're going to be like, whoa, hold on. at an unexpected expense to fix things so I can keep doing my job. Sometimes you have to spend money. It doesn't mean you're doing poorly. It means you're spending money to improve things. The argument is inflation is up. Sure. People said the tariffs were bad because they caused inflation to go up and it stunted economic activity. But what's the long-term effect of the tariffs? Making American industry more competitive against
onshoring
Chinese.
Again.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Potentially
so guess
subverting
what?
the need for
We
income
look at
tax.
our bank account and we say the numbers don't look good. And the child, like Parker, this 20-something-year-old kid who doesn't know anything about economics, goes, wow, look at the economy. Inflation is terrible. And I say, yeah, look at the tariff policy. And look how it was making onshoring possible and making it more competitive for American companies to bring back manufacturing so that in the long term, spending this money means we make more. But see, these people who are entering politics who don't know anything and are adamant they do attack Donald Trump over things that are actually good because they're looking at surface level vanity metrics. So to say inflation is bad, it's like, sure, what we want to consider about inflation is the average person needs to buy food. Can they buy food? Because if they can't, we die. Everyone dies. The bigger question is...
It's actually 6 months where everybody gets healthier.
Sure, that's actually a fair point. But unless you got kids, you're going to be mad your kids can't eat. So the point ultimately is when we look at any of these metrics and try to understand what is going on, are we actually assessing the strategy behind it? Or are we just waving our hands in the air like sixth graders yelling at the teacher when the teacher actually knows what's going on?
Yeah, but Tim, it's not a moot point because the voters, you're on a 4-year cycle, 2 years with the midterms. They vote with their pocketbook. So yes, onshoring American manufacturing, obviously you need to do it. Why would you bring in Howard Nutlick to intentionally write it wrong so he benefits off the rebates?
Because Trump's
if it gets
imperfect and makes
overturned?
mistakes quite a whole bit, huh?
And then he's connected to the Epstein files. He's been caught repeatedly lying. It's like you didn't have a team vetting this better. You let this man write this language in a way it would get overturned.
Is your argument let's go with the Democrats and chop off kids' balls? Is that the argument?
No,
I mean,
that's
what?
not. That's a false equivalence. I'm
No, it's
saying
not.
that. Like I see a pattern with Trump where I don't know if he's listening to the last person in the room, but you've been through hell, all this lawfare. You were fighting for Team America. Why would at the finish line would you not vet these freaking people better?
He certainly knows something you don't.
I mean, I didn't write a tariff policy to re-onshore and then have it overturned.
Again, like, my attitude when I approach all the news is I'm not the billionaire celebrity president.
It's just
and I
the
don't know what the
execution,
plans
though.
are.
It's plain for us to see. Like
No,
that
it's
could have
not.
went through. Even the Supreme Court justices said if this was written in a different way, this wouldn't have happened.
Sure, I think there's very obvious mistakes like John Bolton, who betrayed Trump. Trump made mistakes that we can plainly see. As for the deeper issues of policy, we just don't know. And it's like, if you don't like what Trump is doing, then you can abstain. Fine. And what happens when you abstain?
Democrats win. Now,
Indeed.
I'm afraid that's going to happen.
So you have a reality, which is in politics, the idea that you will ever get someone who represents you is the stupidest thing imaginable. You can only get the best possible outcome. And sometimes it's a net negative. That's why I didn't vote in 2016. I was just like, Hillary Clinton or Trump, I'm not voting for this. Trump wins. And then we see some good things. Moving towards withdrawing troops from the Middle East, failed strategies coming to an end. Most importantly, we had Joe Biden with his stupid DEI policies. His plan moving forward was, contracting DEI
That's how Bach
stuff.
got the job on the
all that awful stuff. And I said,
DEI
okay,
hire.
Trump has been hamstrung the whole time. He's been unable to do his job. He's been accused of being a Russian. He's actually done fairly well in his presidency. I'm going to vote for him in 2020. And I did. Is Donald Trump perfect? Far from it. Is he bad? He certainly is. He's actually a net positive presidency. I do not see any function in taking the majority, using the majority of my time to say why Trump is bad instead of saying Trump's doing things that are good. There's many things we don't understand what he was doing. We'll criticize him where he needs to be criticized, but that's it. He's the guy. And Vance or Rubio, whoever we get next, it's the only guy. Unless you want the deep state to come back in and start gulagging people like Alex Jones 2.0 to everybody else. And they will. What happened to him will happen to each and every one of us if Trump does not win.
You don't fear Trump's being bubble wrapped, though?
What does that mean?
That means that they intentionally hold information back from him and bring surrogates in that are affiliated with the deep state to tell him what he wants to hear to get them to agree to an end policy, which is not what he wants.
No, because the shuttering of U.S., if there is anything that proves Trump is not deep state, it's when he blew up USAID. Like that was...
and the fact that all the...
Well, I'm not saying
people
he
don't
is
hate him.
deep state. I'm saying he's intentionally being kept in the dark. Like,
yeah, no, I don't think that's the case because he blew up the USAID. Like Trump wouldn't even. How does Trump even know the mechanisms of USAID unless someone came to him and said, "This is the move we have to make to stop the deep state," and he gutted billions of dollars from this machine in Northern Virginia. Like, man, it's like if that's all Trump does and he just resigned.
What about
right
all
now,
the
I'd be
tens
like,
of
what a
millions
great
that died as a result of that?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What about all the Lizzo albums that aren't getting sold? I wonder.
USAID was buying Lizzo albums?
USAID was funneling money to various NGOs, and I just think it's very strange that the moment USAID goes belly up, rap falls off the Billboard Top 40, and no one's going to these shows anymore, and no one's buying these albums anymore. So it is curious to me, and I'm not saying the USAID was funneling money to buy albums.
All that remains.
I'm saying it is a fact that USAID was funding cultural programs internationally and domestically, and various other slush funds
And George Soros.
that were used to I would argue, were likely propping these things up. Now that this mechanism is gone, what else did we see? Lee Zeldin uncovered $7 billion was given to an NGO 1 month after it was formed.
Yeah, the Afghani
What are they
Sesame Street.
doing with that money? They are buying influence with it. That influence evaporated. Now, all of a sudden, there's this big shift where these rap stars, R&B, and pop divas can't sell tickets to stadiums and they can't sell albums anymore. And I just think it's a strange coincidence. Again, rap fell off the Billboard Top 40 for the first time since the 90s, all at once, literally all at once, right around the same time USAID went belly up. It's a coincidence, I guess. All I know is there are a lot of people who live in Northern Virginia who don't do work, and we're getting millions to billions of dollars funneled to them so they could own mansions and live like lords off our backs because the Democrat uniparty machine, the old school Republicans as well, had created a mechanism by which they were funneling our money into a network of NGOs that kept them permanently propped up, and Trump blew it up. Now, that is not deep state. That has them livid. You saw what they did in Virginia. They are trying to have their last bastion of the deep state, and they are losing. So I'm pretty happy so far with what we are seeing, albeit there are things that I think Trump could do better.
What would be your number one criticism of Trump?
Well, probably the Epstein stuff. First and foremost, Dan Bongino needed only do one thing. Do you know what Dan Bongino could have done to prevent all of this?
Tell the truth.
He could have gone, oh, no, of course not. The truth. Man, learn your politics. Dan Bongino could have come out and said, he could have went to a podium and says, as the deputy director of the FBI, I have taken a look at all of this stuff, and what I found is sickening. We are starting to go through this. It's going to take time, but we are on the case. Thank you. And then that assuages for a short amount of time. People go, let's go. Dan Bongino's here. Instead of him coming out and going, Epstein killed himself, which immediately flipped everything on its head. He could have come out and said, we're on it. A year later, because everybody forgets, everyone completely will forget about it. When they come back out, Bongino then need only say, if we do this wrong, pedophiles will go free. We have to do it right. So give us time. And then you get a few more months. People are angry about it. He comes out again and says, you guys got to understand, we're talking about decades of impropriety and criminal activity. And we are going to be building one of the biggest cases this country has ever seen. It's not something we can do overnight. And that's going to buy you another 6 months. That's all he had to do. And there would be no Epstein debacle. Debacle.
Oh, I totally agree. They could have rolled this out. They could have done a slow rollout, and then they could have gotten it in stages. It's not like the economy collapses overnight. You go, here's all these scumbags. This is 30% of the GDP. See you later. Like, you could have done it
they did everything wrong. So my criticism is one of two things. They could have handled this properly and honestly. And if they didn't want to do it honestly, begrudgingly honestly, or they could have just been better liars. So Trump has had arguably, well, not even arguably, but bad PR with like Kristi Noem, bad PR, Pam Bondi, bad stuff. Like, come on. You know what really bothers me the most about it is that I know I would do a better job. I know,
dude. That scares the hell out of me too.
Uh-huh. You would do a better job.
Yeah, and I'm retarded.
But what I will say is this. Often when I see these things, I'm like, it must have been really bad for Dan Bongino to come out and say he killed himself, because that was a PR disaster for the Trump
Even if it was true.
Something, I'm like, what's stopping him from just saying, give us time? That's it.
Do you think Maha is being sidelined?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Trump came out, was like, glyphosate's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah,
so
and then
I have a
Monsanto got
theory
off
for
the hook
the.
today.
We have
Yes.
the Roundup ruling stuff, but
Well, I already told you. It's that they're creating a spoiler candidacy by taking the MAGA, the left-leaning side of MAGA, to pull from moderates so the Democrats can't win.
But those are easy wins that both sides would agree on. Hey, we're going to get red dye out. Hey, we're going to get Roundup out. Hey, we know we're not going to give immunity and liability protection to these scumbags that injected you with these substances.
Trump's base and cultural conservatives are voting Republican no matter what. How do you get the middle-of-the-road Democrats who only vote on hating Trump to not vote Democrat?
Spoiler.
RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens have a spoiler campaign or promotion. And then I'm telling you, like, don't you guys know, like, people who are libs who are like, their only real issue is they hate Trump?
Yeah, of course.
Tons of people.
Like,
That's
the vast
most
majority
libs,
of
yeah.
them.
So you give them a non-woke alternative, and they're going to be like, I ain't voting for those wackaloon commies. I'm not voting for the socialist Mamdani. I'm going to vote for Tulsi. I'm going to vote for Tucker. And then Democrats lose 10%. Republicans can't lose. That's the play. We're going to go to your Rumble rants and Super Chats. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you've ever met in your life. Literally right now. Mass text everyone in your phone book, all 2,000 names you've collected over 20 years, and see how quick they block you. Or say, who dis? New phone, who dis? Replies.
Go to
7,000 times.
backyardbutchers.com/ArmyHammer to get 10% off ribs.
America in a box.
Before we go to your Rumble Rants and Super Chats, we're going to go to our great sponsor. It is Enhanced. Go to shop.enhanced/rumble. Get 50% off your first order. My friends, have you heard of the Enhanced games? It's the team rewriting what the human body is capable of. They also have their own consumer line, not hormones, not prescriptions. The daily stimulant-free supplements built to the same standard. So you guys train hard, you work hard. By 3 p.m. most days, you're running on fumes. Well, Enhanced makes a daily formula called Stronger. Doctor-formulated, clinically dosed, no proprietary blends, 1 scoop, 5 grams of creatine, 8 grams of pure L-citrulline, beta-alanine, and essential amino acids. There's 0 caffeine, no crash. It's an extra set in the gym and something left in the tank when you get home at night. And if you're playing the long game, Enhanced makes Longer, a daily longevity formula built direct by the team behind the Enhanced games. No middleman, no markup. Go to shop.enhanced.com/rumble. You get 50% off your first order. Shout out to Enhanced for sponsoring the show. Now let's grab your guys' rants and chats. And it looks like for whatever reason, the Rumble rants are all gone. Because this happens sometimes.
Boom.
Well, it is what it is. We'll grab your super chats. All right, let's see what we got cooking in the old YouTubes. What do we got here? Mariusha says, Tim, please have Razor Fist on to talk about how and why Lincoln was a tyrant who should never be revered or emulated. IMO, he's as bad as Wilson and FDR. You know, I certainly understand those arguments, but I'd prefer that the United States did not fracture and, split in half, or that a new country emerge with a constitutional right to slavery. So
I view on interracial marriage.
If you what?
I really like his view on interracial marriage.
Who's Abraham Lincoln's?
Yeah,
Opposition to?
He was very. Yeah, I was just.
Yeah, they were super racist. But I would argue that Abraham Lincoln absolutely should be revered, because in times of great turmoil, strong men should put the fist down. So Abraham Lincoln did a lot of things that violated the Constitution. He used the Constitution as toilet paper.
He said you had to throw it out sometimes to save the ship.
Is that what he said?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's right. And he suspended habeas corpus before there was a Civil War. Now, historically, we look back and say, Civil War started in Fort Sumter, then he suspends habeas corpus. To the American people at the time, they did not believe Fort Sumter started a civil war. Abraham Lincoln's rallying of troops, conscription, and suspension of habeas corpus were happening, and people did not believe these things were part of a civil war. Historically, we go all the way back and go, so that's where we've decided retroactively the Civil War began. But I think that's unfair, because you could argue that Bleeding Kansas was the beginning of the Civil War. Roving bands scalping and executing people, journalists being dragged from the printing press and burned alive. And they were like, well, but that doesn't count. That's something different. Sure. So to the people at the time, when Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, I would argue that it was only slightly worse. Maybe not slightly is unfair, but I would argue that it's entirely possible we come to a period as bad as Fort Sumter within a year or two if tensions continue to escalate the way they do. That is geographic hyperpolarization. And the example I like to cite is that Colorado has abortion at the point of birth, but Oklahoma has banned abortion outright. Completely diametrically opposed worldviews. They can't
Do you
coexist.
believe that the next civil war will be similar to the first in that it's states seceding, or is it going to manifest completely differently?
The American Civil War wasn't really a civil war. We just call it that. But when you look at almost all civil wars throughout history, they follow similar patterns, right?
Yeah. I just find it hard to believe that states would secede in the future, given that they're so dependent on federal money in a way that they weren't back then. So if a civil war were to happen, I think it would be in a different way than
From an economic failure.
So it would be in the way all civil wars actually happen. So you get militarized pockets popping up. Feds try to go in to take control of those areas. This creates a bifurcation of worldview.
Bach on the rooftop.
So an example would be in Illinois. Let's say you get 17, ICE individuals and they're armed. I'm sorry, 17 anti-ICE individuals armed, Antifa, and they're outside an ICE facility. ICE is on edge because of the terror attacks and the shootings that have already happened. So they tell these people, disarm. It's Illinois, for Christ's sakes. Antifa refuses. No one knows who shoots first. The state defends Antifa, saying Trump's Gestapo tried murdering peaceful protesters, violating their Second Amendment rights. The federal government says they fired on federal facilities. There's terrorists. Trump tries to make arrests, but the people choose to defend Antifa and stop them from being arrested in mass riots. This is how you get modern, that's how civil wars tend to begin. Or I should say they're more likely. The idea that states all lined up against each other and went, I hereby declare, it basically only happened here.
Yeah.
Let's grab some more. Josh Walker says, last night my 15-year-old daughter listened to the show with me. When the topic of parents passing music and culture to the kids came up, she aggressively agreed with Tim. I awoke to her playing Nirvana on her guitar. So yesterday, in the conversation I had with Alex Berenson in the uncensored portion of the show, he argued I'm in a rude awakening with my daughter because parents can't control what their kids learn. So
That's just not true.
Completely untrue. And so the argument was this. Rap music becomes extremely popular in the 2000s, dominating the charts and takes over, and rock disappears. There's a conspiracy theory that it was intentional, which we talked about. Alex said, it's just kids, they find new things. And I said, a child can't know rap exists unless someone influences them, gives it to them. And he said, no. I said, what do you mean no? Did they just one day rap music appears in their brain? No, it came from somewhere. The point I was making is that it makes no sense for the music industry to abandon rock, because if a child grows up with a parent who plays rock music, they are inclined to like rock music, but they want something new. So the incentive is you save money and maximize value by producing rock music for a younger generation, which is literally what happens. My mom still loves Three Dog Night and Zeppelin and all that stuff, and I love Smashing Pumpkins. So why then did the record labels all decide, let's not market a reproducible hit machine that a generation loves, let's completely change the genre overnight?
Makes white men angry.
Indeed, it makes no sense. And so his argument was the kids just got influenced by these things from their friends and all that stuff. My argument is, kids, your children only know what you let them know. Alex, like traditional Americans, gave his children to the state to be raised. And he was like, well, they went to school. My child will be homeschooled and will not be given to a state communist to be indoctrinated. It's not happening. So that's the argument, and I'm right.
They don't even give us John Mayer anymore.
I know. Or Dashboard Confessional.
I was about to say, did you like
Never got to
Dashboard?
being
No.
gay.
Yeah, me either.
I did like The Used and Taking Back Sunday, though. Bayside. Come on.
A-side. Oh my.
Yeah. See, Carter's like, bring the emo.
I like Bayside.
Skinny jeans.
No room for your balls.
Yeah. Just
Indeed.
all hog.
Never stop wearing them.
So the idea ultimately came down to me saying the parents have absolute control over what their kids are around and influenced by, and he disagreed. And then I said, he was like, what if like there's a kid, who's a bad influence? And I was like, I will move. We will pack everything up and leave, and they will not be around those people anymore. And he goes, but then they'll find another kid. And I'm like, are you actually arguing against what I'm saying? Because now you're agreeing that I control who she's hanging out with. If there's a bad kid doing drugs and they're influencing my child, I will remove my child from this place. That's it. There was a post on Reddit where a guy said that his daughter came home one day and said she was a boy. And he was like, okay, what's this all about? And she explained that the school was teaching her these things and that she's not a girl, she's a boy. So he said, okay. And he didn't fight her on it. When next time he went to the school and they said they're using, male pronouns for his son, he said, "Thank you. I really do appreciate your taking care of my child and helping her. I'm sorry, him. Be who he's meant to be." He immediately then set a plan with his family to move out of that district, and packed up everything. Within a few months, found a new job, went to the school and said, "Thank you for everything, for helping my child. I'm getting a new job, so I'll be moving. But if there's anything we need, we'll reach out." Moved to the countryside, went to a conservative area, and he said 2 months later she was a girl again.
Same thing happened to me.
You thought you were a girl until your parents moved you to Catholic school?
I'm actually double trans.
Yeah, he transitioned twice.
I'm a man who identifies as a woman who identifies as a man. I just bounced right back.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right, let's grab a couple more here. All right, let's see what we get here. Bruce says, "How are you going to reduce the population of Europeans and Americans and then bring in people incompatible with your way of life of Rome all over again?" It won't let me say the brown word. Barbarians. And interestingly, the word barbarian comes from the language because the Romans thought they were saying bar, 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 by the way they talked. The goal is to destroy American culture, the American tradition. You flatten it, lowest common denominator. They're doing it to Europe. They're doing it to America. That seems to be intentional. All right, what do we got? Sam Uri says, "This plan to split MAGA is death. It makes DSA win." Well, the people who hate Trump and are trying to stop Trump make DSA win. But the idea that MAGA sets up spoiler candidates to stop the far left, actually, no, it hurts the Democrats. We're going to go to the uncensored portion of the show at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. So smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you've ever met in your life. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Gentlemen, do you want to shout anything out?
Go ahead, Bach. You go first.
Come to chasegeiser.com. You can sign up for free or as a founding member, and you can follow Chase and I at Real Chase Geiser on X and Instagram, and myself at Real Stephen Bach on IG, X, and YouTube.
Yep. I'm Chase Geiser. Please support my work at chasegeiser.com. Follow me on X at Real Chase Geiser.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check out our music at Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
What's up, everyone? I'm Carter Banks. You can follow me at Carter Banks on X. And I don't know how many of y'all use iTunes, but if 2,000 and I think 438 of you buy the single in this QR code right here before
you're almost there?
we will beat Lizzo. Well, not really.
So you got a couple thousand in sales already?
Maybe a couple hundred, but she only got 2,500, I think.
Yeah, you got to beat 2,650.
Yeah.
So you're saying if you need 400?
No, I need 2,400.
Oh,
But we're getting there, We got a whole...
If 2,400 people buy Carter's song right now, we beat Lizzo.
That's right. And
It's the only thing I've ever wanted in my life to say that I beat Lizzo. That's why I do this.
I'll just marry her.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We will see you all over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL in a few seconds. Thanks for hanging out.